animals end up taking them into a place that has this lake. I've got a cat sitting on me, so I have to sit like this because he's on my headphones, and if I try sit up straight, I can't actually sit up straight. You fucking asshole. See that? That's an asshole. Ow, ow, ow.
That's a criminal right there. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Unresolved Textual Tension. Jesus, I can't talk. It's me, your host, Maria. And with me today is Maria. Wouldn't you know it?
Hi guys, welcome today. It is me, and for the first time, for the first legitimate, I just lost my cat, so I'm gonna sit normally. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Hi. She's so fucking cute. I love that cat. But for the first time ever, Val and I are doing a book together, and not just a book, but books together. Will has kept us apart cruelly.
For too long.
And
now he's out of the country, and we're taking control.
We are indeed. If those of you who remember, I think this has been mentioned twice, but in our live stream it also got mentioned. This is the start of my birthday month, and for my birthday, Will has graciously allowed that Val and I are going to be doing a review on The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stvietar. Some of you might remember Will and I way back in the day did it it was a live stream. Yeah,
it was a live stream. Yeah. I was there in the chat. I was just rewatching it. I think I was one of the only ones there.
Mm-hmm. And it was the one that Will and I did, I was in person with him.
Yeah, you guys were sitting together.
And so we did this ages ago, and I then read the sequels myself. I've read the sequels for some of the books we've done, and multiple people have asked for our opinions on it, and so Val and I have graciously reread them so we can talk about them to you guys. Val, give us your history with these books and Our Lady Maggie Stvietar.
Well, I was introduced to her through this channel when we read Scorpio Races, which I was like, it's a horse book, I'm probably not gonna like it, but it was really, really good. Just a gorgeous book, just chef's kiss, perfect. And I was like, okay, so when you guys decided to read the Raven Boys for the book club, I did it, and I think by the time we actually did the live stream, I was already halfway through the third book or something. I just ate them up so fast.
Oh, man.
They're so easy to read and get through. Just delicious food. She knows how to write a sentence so well. It's incredible.
She really does, and it's really crazy how one of the things Val and I were chatting about over Discord. Join us. We have a Patreon with cool people like Val, and you could talk to people. Sometimes me.
Sometimes.
I'm the only one of the hosts that regularly talks in the and by regularly that's regularly in comparison to the other two in the book club chats for the books I read, because Will and Katie ain't neither of them. I think Will has done it once, and it was because he was complaining about a book so much. But yeah, earlier Val and I were talking about how skilled Stvietar is on a language level. She's great at crafting characters. She's great at crafting interesting surroundings. Her worlds feel fleshed out. But her wit on a sentence level is just incredible. It's so good. I have also attempted to read, because you said, Val, that it was Scorpio Races in these books, and that's all you've read.
That's all I've read of her, yeah.
So ages ago, after my partner first bought me my Kindle, there was a sale for a bunch of books, and you could get a whole series for $8 kind of thing. And I noticed that one of them was a series by Our Lady Maggie Stvietar, and I was like, yay, gold! This is amazing. I would love that. So I bought it, not realizing until I started reading it that it was her first book.
Was this a shiver?
Yep. It's not good. It's wildly, like, I can't even find a fraction of who she is. Honestly, I think we should review that, Val. Like, I think
We should.
for the sake of science and academic integrity. I think.
And also, it's really interesting because so many times authors kind of stagnate and they just don't get better. So it would be very interesting to see how far she's come and, like, because, like, she's such a masterful writer. I know you guys didn't like The Listeners. I haven't read it yet, but, like...
But even then, she was still a masterful writer. Her sentences were great. The atmosphere of the place was great. It just, like, story-wise and character-wise, lost the plot a little bit. But even then, like, when I tell you Shiver, I thought I was conned. I was like, did I buy a book series by somebody else whose name?
Different Maggie.
Yeah, and it's like just the last name is like 3 letters off, and I've been fooled. Nope, it was just, and so it really is a fantastic example of an author who improved and learned and changed, and especially when you like that book, Shiver. And again, I didn't finish it. I think I got like 6-7 chapters in. And I just could not. It's almost like it has the je ne sais quoi of Twilight.
Was it written around that era or like a little after?
I don't remember, but it definitely, she wrote it a while ago, but it has that, like, girl in small town in high school, weird
supernatural boy.
Supernatural stuff is happening. In this case, the boy is a wolf. And I guess like a werewolf, I don't know. And this girl's like, and it's so weird because there was a point where I was like, does she want to fuck the wolf? But like, she didn't know there was this point where she was so obsessed with this wolf, and she didn't know the wolf was a boy who was also attractive. And I'm like, I'm all for monster fucker, but that's just like a normal ass wolf.
That's just an animal.
Yeah, like I don't understand what's happening. So it was just really weird. We should definitely read it.
We should, but we have 4 books to get through, Maria.
We have 4 books to get through today. We reread. Have you ever reread the series before?
No, this is my first time rereading it.
Me too. And on your second read, what are your thoughts compared to your first?
I think I liked it better in a lot of ways. Because in the first book, I had some issues with it that now that I, know the series as a whole, and like I see what she was doing, she was setting up something really cool here. It's so hard because we're going to have to be really regimented when we get through each book. But like some of the choices with the characters are like, where is she going? I don't like this. But she fixes it and it all comes together and you just adore the characters by the end.
Yep.
And it's really fun this time around being like seeing the threads that she wove together and knowing what we do about, like Ronan and Adam and everything. Like from the beginning, I'm like, oh, I see it. I see you piecing these little things together. And it was lovely. And
it's also one of those book series where there's so many details and like, this is going to sound like a bad thing, but like the plot of these books isn't as important.
It's about the characters.
Yeah, it's about the characters. But the benefit of that is you remember a lot of the character beats, but I did not, coming into this, remember. Like, I remembered the shape of most of the books, but I didn't, like, I was like, what happened when they finally found Glendower? How did this thing happen? Like, there's a bunch of plot points, and so on a second read, it was nice because there were certain scenes that I got to experience. But I agree, there was a lot of things that I was very angry, like, and I remember in our video of the first one, I had complaints, especially about Adam as a character, and by the end of the series, he's one of my favorite, if not my favorite character of the group, and how much they all grow, and it really just is about the characters. I do wish do you ever read a book that's like the 4th in the series and you're like, wow, I wish the author would have thought of this character like a book and a half ago?
Henry?
Yes.
What she managed to do with him in one book I thought was pretty impressive.
Yes.
I like Henry a lot.
But
we'll get to that when we get there. But
I just wish it's one of those things where you're like, if that could have just been brought up, like even a handful of times of him just being mentioned on the page.
Yeah, even like in Dream Thieves or something, just sprinkled in. But
as a character who is there and doing things, like like one of those, like a side character in a name on a page kind of thing, and then he kind of gets fleshed out. I would have appreciated that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was really fun. I do have some complaints.
Me too.
Just, yeah, as far as plotting and stuff goes. But, like, if you haven't read this, go read it. Unless you're, like, plot first, characters second kind of person, in which case, don't do it.
Do you want to do a very, like, basic, like, synopsis of...
So, premise. We'll do the premise.
Premise, yeah, that's...
So, there is a little sleepy town in Appalachia called Henrietta, Virginia. And in it is a girl named Blue Sergeant. She comes from a family of psychics, but she is not psychic. She has the ability to heighten the powers of other psychics around her. So she sees herself as like a useful tool, but she doesn't herself feel inherently special. And there in the sleepy town of Henrietta is a fancy all-boys school called Aglenby. And it's like rich people from out of town, rich boys, and they're like bastards. One of Blue's rules of life is don't mess with Aglenby boys. They're bastards. And amongst the Aglenby boys, there's 3 in particular that the book wants you to care about.
Or 4, as
yes, technically 4.
Technically 4.
Richard Gansey III, Ronan Lynch, and Adam Parrish, and then a kid named Noah Cherney. And they are like a group. They're those boys in school. They are their own clique, and they're very disparate. Ronan is regularly described as like a cut piece of glass, all sharp edges and mean mugging. Adam Parrish is the scholarship kid who always looks good, always just does his homework, but everything's just like a little threadbare. And then Richard Gansey III, just referred to as Gansey, is Richie Rich. He's rich, he's loved, he's had a lot of things in his life, and he gives you politician in the making vibes.
Shiny golden boy.
And then Noah Cherney, nobody notices much. He's kind of the kid
smudgy
in the background. Boy. Yeah, smudgy boy. And what starts, the Blue joins their group, and she is brought in on their adventure to find the old Welsh king Owen Glendower, who is believed to be buried somewhere around Henrietta, and if you wake him, you get a gift. And Gansey died when he was young. When he was 10 years old, he died, but then a voice told him, hey, you will live because of Owen Glendower. Somebody on the ley line has died when they shouldn't, so you'll live when you shouldn't. And ever since then, Gansey boy has been looking for this old dead Welsh king, and his friends have just been brought into the mix.
And you get the sense early on that Gansey, he doesn't even really know what he wants to wish for. It's just sort of like a white whale situation. It's just like, I gotta find this guy. Like,
and it's kind of been his way of processing the horror of his death. And he's allergic to bees and wasps, and he got attacked by a bajillion hornets. Like, this boy should not have survived, but he was saved. And it's been his way of kind of processing, dealing with it, and also like not actually focusing on the trauma that he went through, and kind of funneling himself into this search. And they're like 17, and he's like, I've been studying this for 7 years. And I was so like, funny. When you were 10, my guy? You must have
I kind of love how she leans into like the middle grade YA logic of it all a little bit. Like later when we get like an assassin character, he's very much like an assassin with all the edges like sanded off. He's not a real assassin, but we can extend our disbelief because this is for like, this is young YA.
Yeah. But it also like, but I also love it. I just love thinking of like an 11-year-old like reading stuff and being like, do you know about this old dead Welsh king? And people being like, wow, he's weird. And like, he only comes into himself in high school. Like, but prior to that, everybody was like, wow, Gansey's your child is really fucking weird. And he just didn't realize. That's my
good thing he's handsome because he's strange.
He's strange as all get out. And he spent a year in England with an old guy just traveling, or like, did Gansey go to school? Like, what in the rich white people is happening here?
Before we get too deep into the plot, I do want to just say something about the structure of it, because the novels are structured very specifically, and I think it's interesting because there's a ton of perspectives, but they follow like very specific rules. For most of it, you get Blue's perspective, our main girl character, and then all the Raven boys. But in every book there's a villain cam essentially. So you get intermediate chapters for the bad guy of the month or whatever. and every now and then you'll get a little snippet of a different adult character in their life. But she is very specific, and she doesn't really break her rules book to book. So I think the structure is utilized very well. Like,
it is, and she builds on the points of view. Like, the person whose point of view comes next, especially when it's a new point of view, is very purposeful. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, we can just think of the opening, chapter 1. Yeah, it is chapter 1 for Blue Lily, Lily Blue, where it is the first point of view is a character named Persephone, and she ends it having a specific thought. And then the second point of view is a character named Calla, and she mirrors the thought that Persephone had at the end of her point of view, and they play into each other. And so a lot of the times when there is this point of view switch, it's kind of picking up a thread, a refrain. And I say refrain because it's legit refrains where they will, in their point of view, think something in a phrase that she used for a different character. And Val and I were also talking about this yesterday. She repeats certain phrases, and for each character they mean something a little bit different, but it builds on them the more you hear it, and it's really just masterfully done. It's one of the best uses of point of view switches ever. And I'm trying to remember, outside of the fourth book, does Noah have a lot of point of view?
I don't think he has except for the fourth one. I think it's just that one.
And it's fucking excellent. If I hadn't been cramming that point of the book down my face as I was getting ready to do this, I would have cried, because it's just such a beautiful...
Yeah. When she breaks like the rules that she sets up for her like point of view structure, it's very purposeful, and you notice it, and it's so like they're just like masterfully structured, like little YA novels. They're so good.
Yep.
And but like Marie was saying, it's not really about the overarching plot. If you're really invested in the Glendower, like finding Glendower, this isn't that book. This is a coming of age story, essentially.
Yep. And it's really interesting because each book has its own specific plot. Like, I think of each one, like I think of the first one as shitty Latin teacher. The second one as Grayman and Kavinsky book. The third one as
Greenmantle.
It was Greenmantle and something else.
And Piper.
Yeah, no, it was. There's something else about it. The Cave book. It's the Cave book. Yeah. And more is missing, and then the fourth one is like the Demon. Because within each of the books, they have a specific plot with a beginning, middle, and end. But that overarching plot that connects all the books for the set out purpose you think you're going on in the first book to the end, that I think she is much less interested in than the individual things happening and the character growth.
And I think at the end of the day, what she is doing from point A to point B, like all the way to the end, is not really what's happening. It's just coming of age. It's these people, like in this tight-knit friend group, trying to figure out who they are with each other, without each other. Like it's like that's what it is about at a core, I think.
Yep.
I took a while ago, I took like a little like writing seminar from her specifically, and she said that she was it was really interesting hearing. It was specifically about the Raven cycle too, and she said that she had a sticky note by her laptop the whole time she was reading it that said, "Remember, the worst thing that can happen is they stop being friends."
Yeah. and that consistently throughout the book is the worst. Like, the thing that made me the most angry in the first book was a foundational friendship being threatened, but seeing how it builds back up and becomes stronger on the other side of it, it really, it's so good. I love these characters so much. And every once in a while, she goes maybe like a little too hard with how like there's a couple of times where she was describing Ronan, and I'm like, this woman loves her sharp edge boy. All knives, like there are times where she's like, I love him too as well, but there's literally times where she describes him, he was a bag of knives, and you're like, what is that even? But it's like, it fits the character she's given. But like, of the boys, I would argue Ronan's her favorite, and you can just tell because of how and it's hysterical.
And he gets his own spin-off series too, so
I also want to read. I finished this. Yes, I finished this, and I was like, Yeah.
Maybe. So I feel like the way we should structure this is you do your real quick synopsis of each book. We stop, we talk about it. I've got some like things bookmarked, and then we move on and try to keep it book to book so that we don't get too distracted.
Yeah. Okay, so starting with the first book, which is called Raven Boys, the premise I gave earlier kind of picks up there. Blue Sergeant ends up becoming part of this friend group with these group of boys. Initially because one of the boys, Adam, thinks she's cute, and Gansey, the golden boy, tries to get Blue to talk to Adam. It doesn't go well. There's a lot of butting of heads. She comes from a poor rural family, but she kind of gets wrapped up in their adventure. They're looking for this dead king. They're out there on lakes looking for items underneath it, and all the while there is this Latin teacher who's like, oh, if anyone knows, basically their Latin teacher killed his best friend on the ley line. I guess we should explain ley lines. Ley lines are magical lines of energy that cross different parts of the planet. Some people think they're connected at different points, but magical things happen on the ley line. And in this universe, magic exists. Some psychics can actually do psychic-y stuff. And the book very quickly is like, yes, Owen Glendower is somewhere here, and there's magical shit happening. The kids discover a place called Cabeswater, and Cabeswater is a magical sentient forest where the trees speak Latin, and they are, like, they talk to the kids. The kids are like, wow, this is the closest we've ever come to finding Glendower. This is so cool. But then they realize years ago somebody was sacrificed because they find bones in a car in Cabeswater. Somebody was sacrificed on the ley line to try spark it into what is the term they use? Revive.
What is the maybe revive, but maybe essentially
revive? Yeah, to revive the ley line, because it's kind of like weak and half-hearted. But if they revive the ley line, Cabeswater will be stronger. And it'll make, in their minds, it'll make finding Glendower easier. But they were like, somebody did this, and then they realized, oh my god, our fourth friend, the smudgy one, Noah, is the kid that died 10 years ago.
Yeah, they like pick up his like Aglenby Academy like ID. They see his face. They're like, Noah?
Yeah.
He's like, I've been telling you I'm dead the whole time. I think he says it 3 times.
He does. There are multiple times where people are like, Noah, you're so weird. And he's like, I've been dead for 9 years.
And because these are such well-written like teenagers, you're like, oh, he's just being like a weird kid.
And he's just described as kind of like the mopey friend, like smudgy and mopey and in the background, but like funny. Noah is funny. He got them laughs. And one of the things that also, and so basically they were like, oh my god, Noah's old friend is our current teacher, Wild. And the teacher's like, I want to get the ley line. And then Blue's aunt, Neve, who's also psychic, is like, I want the power of the ley line for myself. I shall make a sacrifice on the ley line and get its power. And so Neve goes to sacrifice the professor guy. They go to stop it, or Adam's not been having a great time. He has a crush on Blue. Blue won't kiss him. Blue can't kiss him because I forgot to mention this. There's a curse on Blue where if she kisses her true love, he'll die. So she ain't kissing no one, even though she's kind of into him too. And Adam's he's pissed off. He's mad at Gansey. He's mad at the world. He wants to feel like a special boy within himself.
It should be stated as being very abused
at home. Yes. His dad, not nice. His mom, allowing this to happen. Not a great experience. And he also like works a ton. But anyway, he sees an opportunity for him to do something special, to like make a mark. So he goes to make the sacrifice to the ley line by himself. He goes and he ends up, instead of killing someone, he makes a different sacrifice where he says, I'll be your hands and I'll be your eyes and I'll help you, Cabeswater. And Cabeswater's like, we love that sacrifice. You know, you're not just killing someone else you don't care about. Because like everybody else took sacrifice literally, like let's slit a throat on the ley line. And Cabeswater is like, I want that deep, beautiful personal sacrifice. And so he wakes up the ley line, that was the term I was looking for earlier. He wakes up the ley line, and now he is like part of Cabeswater, and Cabeswater is part of him, and everybody's like, why did you do that? And that's where book 1 ends.
And so we can go back and fill in some of the details, because there are so many important characters that need to be introduced here.
Oh
so
God,
Baloo lives at 300 Foxway with her mother, who's a psychic, and 2 other psychics, Persephone and Kala, who are just lovely characters. Are they all like late 30s, early 40s? Because I thought like Persephone and Calla were older, but I think they might all be like 40ish.
I think the vibe is that Persephone doesn't look old, but is.
Yeah.
But I think they all look like they're like 45-ish. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
Calla gives me the vibe that she's probably the oldest, but I don't know. One of the things with this book does not care too much about people's actual ages and that kind
Mm-mm.
of stuff, so you don't get a lot of markers about that. Um, but also, Mora's other sister, like somebody else, Jimmy, and Jimmy's daughter
Jimmy,
Orla.
yeah, Jimmy is Mora's sister
Other
or
sister,
sister-in-law. Yeah, and yeah, Orla is Blue's cousin. Yeah,
who's Jimmy's.
hmm
So there's a ton, and then there's a couple other people that live in there. There's a
there's
ton of
just a
people.
bunch of women in this house, and they're all a little quirky and a little psychic.
Yes. And the important thing is that Mora, Persephone, and Calla are like three corners of a triangle where they all support each other. When they do important readings, they'll do it together. When they have important decisions to make, they do it together. They don't regularly act alone. You very much get the idea that they are kind of uh, a version of the maid mother crone.
Very much like the three woman kind of trope, right? Yeah.
And they are just like a foundational corner of like part of the book series, and also hugely important for Blue, where she has these fantastical women around her who need her because she thinks of herself as a battery where they can pull power from her, but she doesn't see herself as part of them. And so to be in a house full of these like magical women and feel like the odd man out, all of these characters feel like the odd man out in their situations. And Stvietar does a really great job of not making it readily apparent because the ways in which they are isolated from other people are very, very different. Like, and they all have something that someone else is missing. And so we mentioned Adam, perfect example. He's poor and he doesn't have a loving family, and so all of his friends are rich assholes who have had love in their lives at one point or another. And so that's what his isolation is. He feels like he's constantly trying to prove himself that way, where Blue is trying to make herself feel special in her household.
And I like that it's explicitly stated that like Moira or Mora and any of the psychics in the house, they always ask Blue. They don't say, Blue, you have to help me with this reading. They say, Blue, could you help me with this reading? Yeah, but like, Blue is like, why wouldn't I help? I do love these people. But, she has that sort of inferiority of like, I'm kind of just a battery for these like people, even though like all of them love her and respect her. And Blue is so immediately painted as like such a fun, quirky girl, but not the kind of quirky girl you come to think of in YA books. Let me see if I have like a quote, because Mora had decided sometime before Blue's birth that it was barbaric to order children about, and so Blue had grown up surrounded by imperative question marks. Blue opened and closed her chilly fists. The top edges of her fingerless gloves were fraying. She'd done a bad job knitting them last year, but they had a certain trashy chic to them. If she hadn't been so vain, Blue could have worn boring but functional gloves she'd been given for Christmas. But she was vain, so she insisted that she had her fraying fingerless gloves, infinitely cooler and also colder, and no one could see them but Nev and the dead. But you just get this painting of Blue as someone she is kind of like trashy chic on purpose.
Yes.
She wants people to see her this way. It's kind of like a wall that she puts around herself in a lot of ways. But it's just so fun to have like, I'm not like other girls. I'm blah blah blah. Like I'm not like other girls on purpose. I'm doing this actively.
Yeah. And also she's so practical. It's one of the ways she works where she in herself is not a quirky personality. So she's quirky in her presentation.
Very sensible.
Yes, she's super sensible, and regularly it sometimes gets mad at herself for being sensible, or in moments where she isn't, she's mad that she's not being sensible, which is a great conflict as someone who was regularly labeled the sensible girl, like growing up. Like people were always like, wow, Maria's just like, I wasn't like the rebellious teenager or any of that stuff. I was like chill, And so, like, I've had some similar struggles that Blue has had, where I've wanted to be less sensible, and then in the moments when I wasn't, I'm mad at myself for not being it, which is something that happens with Blue. But her quirky appearance works because she has the attire of, like, a trashy chic is a great way, but a trashy chic manic pixie dream girl is the what she seems like appearance wise. She's got like a ragged pixie cut that she has like a bajillion clips in it, and she'll wear like a sweater that like a sweatshirt that she cut into a dress, and like stuff like that, and just really weird like putting together of outfits. And she's tiny, she's small, short girl, but she herself is so practical in how she speaks, how she acts, how she interacts with other people, that it's almost like Stvietar was like, I'm gonna stare at the trope of magic, the manic pixie dream girl in the face, and be like, but I bring you sensibility.
And it makes so much sense that Blue would be this person growing up with so many quirky, like, women, like psychic women who are just like frazzled all over the place. Half the time you walk into 300 Fox Way, like Calla, Persephone, and more are just like sipping cocktails on the couch. Like, it's just, you get the sense that Blue has had to be the sensible one, like, her whole life.
You really do. Like, Persephone will be like baking pies at weird times of night, and like everybody's just doing weird ass shit, and it works so well. She's such a well crafted YA female protagonist who feels odd and weird in the way that I think almost all of us do growing up. Like, there's a point at every person's life where they're growing up where they're like, am I the weird asshole? Or you feel out of place at some point, or you're upset with yourself. And Blue really embodies that in just a masterfully done way. Like, she's so relatable.
There's something really performative about being a teenage girl, and
Yes.
like Blue, like, very much encapsulates that, like, mindset. Like, she's like, is this a performance? Like it's just a lovely little, like, a teen archetype of a character. It's beautiful. And like you and Will were saying in your first, like, review of the Raven Boys, the boys, I didn't want to like them at first, but they're just such well and immediately like visible characters. Like, you can see them like, oh, I know the kind of person you are. Like the scene where Blue is working at Nino's at the diner, and like Gansey, Ronan, Adam, and Noah are all seated there. It's such a funny scene. I love that Blue calls Gansey President's cell phone because he's clearly the leader of the group, and he's like on his phone all the time. Like, remember when I was saying earlier that there's some regional, like, or strange differences? He's President Mobile Phone in the prose, which is much less ringy. I'm glad that they changed it.
It's interesting. And this wasn't recorded, but Val mentioned that there's a lot of things that were changed from the written book to the audiobook, as far as like certain words and
torch to flashlight, boot to trunk, like, of the car. I didn't even know people called the trunk of a car a boot, honestly.
The thing is, I knew that because, like, I was born in South Africa, and that's what it's called in South Africa. I did not know that was called that in Appalachia. I was not aware. I haven't heard, because my mom used to get made fun of all the time when we first moved to the U.S., and she'd call it a boot. So it's just really interesting because even, and this is what we say when we say the U.S. is very different depending on where you go, guys. Different beasts. But it's really interesting that it was, because, like, you're right, President Cell Phone is way better than President Mobile Phone. There's an extra syllable we don't need.
There's just such a ring to President Cell Phone, and the way the audiobook narrator says it is very funny. President Cell Phone.
Let me tell you, I did not like this audiobook narrator when I was first reading the book back in the day. He
really grows on you. I love the sort of like a Southern Gothic kind of vibes.
The performance and certain lines are so much harsher or richer because of how he reads them, and you notice this especially when you're reading it with your eyes, and he'll read it and put like the stress or the emphasis in a certain way, and you're like, wow, that sentence is so much cooler because of how he read it. Listen, Stvietar is an awesome writer, and this is her at some of her sentence best.
Mm-hmm.
But goddamn, does that guy really pull out the stops? And he'll change his voice a little bit depending on who the POV is in. Like when he's doing the Gray Man, it's always just like a little harsher, and it's just, he brings so much, and his voice for Kala is just...
his voice for Kala is excellent. She's just like such like a snarky, like almost growly.
Oh my god! And even Persephone's voice, where at the beginning in the first book, you're like, oh my god, like you almost can't take the way he does feminine voices seriously.
But like you come to really like it because it's very Persephone.
And it just works, and he does such a great job of, because even there was a scene where he was doing, it was a scene where, and it's in a later book, but a character is talking to one character and then gets a phone call and gives it to the second character. And just by the voice change, you immediately know who is on the line. And it's all three male characters between the ages of 17 and 35. I don't know how old the Gray Man is, but anyway, these three voices could have all been very similar, and they're not. They're completely different, and it's just one dude reading in like a black room. You know, like,
I could never replace audiobook narrators. These people, what they do is incredible.
It is insane, and he is excellent. If you try listening to this, and you're a little off-put, just
give it some time, because it really does. And it'll grow on you.
it really does. It adds so much.
Essentially, like, Blue gets introduced, like you said, like, Gansey walks over and is like, my friend thinks you're cute, come talk. And she's like, well, I'm working right now. And he's like, oh, well, here's some money, like, I'll pay for, and she's like, I'm not a prostitute. And he's like, oh, well, that's not what I meant. I was just like, just come hang out. This will cover your there's just fundamental misunderstanding.
You brought up an issue. You need to work for money, and you can come hang out with us, and you can still make money. And he genuinely means this as a solution. And she's like, you giant,
you rich bastard, leave me alone.
You think you can just throw money at me, and I'll come sit with you? And he's like, because he's just... he's so wealthy, and he's been so isolated, partially because of how he's decided to live parts of his life. He has no idea.
What makes Gansey so charming is that, like, he is very charming in specific situations. You can, like, see it, like, he can turn on the charm, but he is so sheltered on certain things, and he just puts his foot in his mouth so much, and you love to see it. Oh. And the way she describes him in all of his, like coral polo shirts, or like bright yellow polo shirts, the boat shoes,
and his like slightly shorter than normal shorts. Like
you can just see this guy. You have such a clear picture of him in your head, and you're like, oh, I would look at this guy on the street and see, like, that's an asshole. Like,
yep, any day of the week, and it just works. I mean, Will's right. You do want to hate them in the beginning because they just like. But she just writes them so well. Like, another one that would be really easy to hate is Ronan. But she writes him because Ronan is basically, like, the bad boy of the group. He drinks. He races cars. He does
right after the scene. He gets in a fist, like, almost gets in a fist fight with his brother outside.
And he's angry, and he curses, and he's irreverent, and he doesn't go to class. But he's weird, and he's weirdly good at Latin. But she then gives complexity and profound gentleness to him as a character that just makes him work so well, and he is oftentimes one of the most tragic characters in the whole series. And she knows how to add depth and make them feel real in really specific ways.
When we get to Dream Thieves, we'll talk about it more, because that book is basically like all about Ronan, essentially. But like he's such a well-crafted character. And the way she describes Adam in this scene also, just because we're spending more time on it, so we have to introduce all the characters. That way we won't have to do it later. But Adam, like, he's always described as having this sort of like a kind of a long face, like kind of sad blue eyes, like not really there eyebrows. He looks more Henrietta than the other boys, who are clearly from old money.
And he's a bit gaunt.
He's gaunt, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just like kind of, I think Blue describes him as like a elegant boy or something. Like he's just like kind of strangely beautiful in an ethereal kind of way, and you get such a strong image of him just from that description. He talks kind of slowly, he's a little shy, he's very kind of like southern polite in like his interactions, especially with adults and stuff. It's great. It's crazy how fast she characterizes these guys.
And immediately you start getting like their foibles. Like Adam, you think is like the normal one, but then very quickly you begin to see his insecurities, his like the things that pick at him and make him a much more complex. Like each character, and that's why you don't want to like him, because in the beginning you're just given snapshots of their like surface level selves, and then she very quickly just gives you the depth to them. And you know, Adam and Gansey are best friends and have been for about a year. Ronan and Gansey have been friends for much longer. They've known each other for years. But it feels like a very much like solid friendship. And then this book like shakes that a bit. And because of how she builds up the characters, it ends up in the first book, when you first read it, you're really just pissed off at Adam by the end of the first book.
By the end of it, yeah.
You're just like, fuck you, buddy. What are you? And at the beginning, I was like, I love this guy. He's just, and so
why are you ruining my baby boy?
Why are you ruining my baby boy? He was so sweet and he was so nice, and I don't understand. And you also like, there's this idea that you get quickly in this book because like Blue and Adam kind of do the flirting with each other, and I was on board. I was like, I love that. And then the book's like, it's actually going to be Gansey and Blue. And I was like, no, I hate that. And then let me tell you.
The way she brings you back in, it's so good.
Because you mirror Blue. In this book, Blue is shown a scene that shows her that it's Gansey. And she's like, no, I don't choose that. I'm choosing the other one. I want that one. And so you and Blue, you're right there. You're right there with her. And it's one of those things that Will talks about it a lot, where the characters emotionally, we should not be too separated from them. Like we can know some stuff ahead of them, but they should catch up. You know, without making us want to shoot ourselves, I'll let the forest in at a certain point. But you, and especially emotionally, when characters are in love, you don't want to be too far from where the character is. Like if you ship two characters, you don't want them to like never end up together, but you also don't want it to happen. Like you don't want the author to be shipping them when you're not. And like me and Blue, we immediately were like, I like the cute one in the Coca-Cola shirt, which is Adam. And so she does a great job just riding you along. You and Blue mirror each other, where Blue's like, fuck Gansey.
It's a real delicate balance, like making like managing reader expectations with like stuff like this, especially with all of these characters and character relationships. And she really does a good job. Like I know, like at the end of the first one, you're like, I don't know about this, but like, beautifully done. And like shortly after this scene, this is when Adam gets his Coca-Cola shirt moniker. The Gansey boys, the Raven boys go to 300 Foxway to get their tarot read, or their fortunes told, because at the very beginning, Gansey heard like a recording of himself like on the ley line talking to someone. He's like, there's something going on. Blue saw him on the corpse road of all of the spirits walking who are going to die in the next year. So she knows that he is either a true love or he's going to die in the next year, or probably both, maybe. Yep. Who knows? But only Blue and the women at Foxway know this. So the boys come in, and it's like so awkward at first. It's very clear, just like a bunch of like two worlds kind of colliding. They all sit down. Calla gets nicknames for all of the boys immediately. Gansey is the pretty one. Adam is Coca-Cola shirt because he's wearing a faded like Coca-Cola shirt. And Calla like touches or like Ronan, or does a little reading on Ronan, or touches his tattoos or something, and she's like, what are you, man, you snake? Like, and he becomes snake after that. Yeah.
And then Noah doesn't get his now, but his eventually.
Noah, yeah, I don't even know if he's in
dead
that
boy. He's not in this scene, but eventually he does get a Calla nickname, and he's just the dead boy.
And what happens is, like, you know, Gansey is really the main reason he's there, or they're all there, and he draws the Page of Cups, which is the card that Mora has always thought looked exactly like Blue. Everyone sees it. It's got Blue's face
And
on
it's
the little
also
page.
the card that whenever she does a reading for Blue always comes up. And for her, it's like potential, and Blue is nothing but potential. So when this card gets pulled, she's like, pick another one.
Pull another one. And then another page of cups. She's like, get out of here. like she's like, I don't. And she's like, Blue, don't hang out with those boys. Please. I've never told you not to do anything before. I'm asking you to stay away from those boys. And like Blue is like, wow, she really hasn't ever asked me to do that before. I don't really know what to do with this. She's like, but what would happen if I did anyway?
Yeah.
So she does anyway. And they go up into like I don't know if anything happens important between them, but eventually they go into like a helicopter and look down on the ley lines to get like a picture of what it looks like from the air. They're in Ganzi's sister's helicopter, Helen, and there's a really funny just like brother sister sort of
oh my god, she does brother sister dialogue so sibling, it's so good.
Fun. Like Helen isn't like even like a very big character, but it's just like this is what like their sibling relationship is, and the few times we see her, it's just like so good. And I just I'm gonna read this because I want to.
You do it.
Yeah. So essentially, Helen is like, "What are you getting Mom for her birthday?" Gansey's like, "Nothing. I'm still a kid. Like, isn't my presents enough?" And she's like, "Ugh." And Gansey's like, "What are you getting her?" And she's like, "Glassware." And she starts talking about it. Gansey's mother collected rare painted plates with the same obsessive fervor that Gansey collected facts about Glendower. He had a hard time seeing the allure of a plate robbed of its original purpose, but his mother's collection had been featured in magazines and was insured for more than his father, so clearly she was not alone in her passion. Helen was stony. "I don't want to hear it. You didn't get her anything." "I didn't say anything about it." "You called it glassware." He asked. "What should I have called it?" "They're not all glass. The one I found for her is not glass." "Then she won't like it." Helen's face shifted from stony to very stony. Like, it's just, and then later at Mom's actual party, there's just like a very short little like snippet of a scene that's so funny where Gansey's talking to his dad, and Gansey's dad looks at him and says, "Do you have any idea why your sister purchased that hideous bronze plate for $3,000? Is she angry at your mother? Is she trying to play a practical joke? She thought Mom would like it. It's not glass."
It's so funny because it just, like, the scene in the helicopter for a less talented writer, there would never have been the follow-up and, like, the ending of the knot of that situation. And she does that so often where she'll set up a thing and then, like, a while later the conversation...
Just, like, a punchline, like, way down the road, and it's so great.
It's so good because that is legitimately a hysterical moment because by this point other stuff has happened, you've forgotten that, and so to have is you're just like mwah.
And there's so much else happening in the scene where that party is happening. Like Gansey is like trying to make sure Ronan doesn't get expelled, and he's like juggling things, and he's like donating to the school so Ronan doesn't get expelled, and then he just walks back in and Dad is like, "Hey, is your sister like really pissed off at Mom? Why'd she get her that ugly ass plate?"
Why would she do? And it's just it works so well. Honestly, she's so good at scenes and atmosphere, and like it's so good. And she writes dialogue that feels how people speak in a way where, like a lot of Marvel movies and like the modern superhero film,
like just like the banter. Like
she does dialogue that is smart, witty, and has banter qualities to it, but there is like a groundedness to it because sometimes people are having a conversation and they're like not saying like there's a scene in the fourth book where two characters are having an argument and neither of them is saying what they need to say to fix the problem because they're both so tied into their emotions, and it's just such a real conversation because you as the reader are like, you could fix, like, you just shut up your pride and say this and we could get over this, but they're humans and they're teenagers
and they're teenagers
and it doesn't and it's not the I hate you, I'm going to my room type of teenager. It's like the legit complex emotions, pride.
When Gansey and Adam fight, it's so good because you can tell they're both having different conversations. Like they're both like, Adam is like, "I don't want your handouts, I need to do this for myself." And Gansey is like, you are being hit in your home. I am trying to help you. I'm not like, this isn't me trying to assert pride over you. And it's like,
this isn't a handout. You are literally in a traumatic situation. I would do this for anyone.
And again, and like Adam is like, you just want all your things in one place. You just want to like, you like to collect people. And Gansey's like, no, man, I'm just your friend. But like, they're just on two completely different wavelengths.
And it's one of those things where sometimes I'll have conversations and like pause and that moment of, what do you think I just said? Like, I just said this. What did you hear when I said that? Because like, and I'm sure this has happened to everyone, where all of a sudden you realize the person you're talking to thinks you said something completely different, or what you intended is
That's what arguments are like in real life. You say something and then like you think like maybe you'll play it back if like you're like, oh, I just said something that hit a completely different button than I was aiming for. Like,
one of my best friends and I, we have this problem where we will be using the same word but have completely different definitions, and it has led to 45-minute long, we call it dueling, but like dueling sessions where we're arguing a point back and forth, and like at a certain point neither of us even care, and then all of a sudden I'll go, how are you defining this term? And then all of a sudden we realize we were defining it differently, and actually we agreed the whole time. And it's just, this book has those moments of where
it does it so much too. Mm-hmm. It's just all the dialogue is so believably done, and it's purposeful. There's not like a lot of like mush in there. And like, I hate when authors, it's like, it grinds on my soul when authors will just have a character say something funny and bantery, and they'll just give it to every character because they want that bantery back and forth and they think they're funny. And it just like it irritates me to no end. Like,
the worst. Sarah J. Maas is when I tell you, reading those books and then like having this as an experience, like, this is the kind of dialogue she would kill for. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna text Kate.
Yeah,
she was just calling me. And I don't want her to think.
But yeah, we should probably wrap up this book. Because there's not too much more. It's mostly an introduction to characters. Yeah. We realize like Barrington Welk like tries to kill Gansey. Like, Gansey's car breaks down on the side of the road, and like Welk is just incompetent. So
that's the Latin teacher who killed Noah back in the day.
Yes, and Gansey's like, oh my god, this is real. And after, what we're just talking about, that big argument with Adam and Gansey, like Maria said in her quick recap, like, Adam is feeling raw. He just like had a big showdown with his dad. Is this when Ronan comes and is this after Ronan punches his dad out?
It is after.
So
that all happens in this book.
So what happens is, Adam is getting beat up. Ronan is there. Ronan turns his car around, comes out, punches his dad. And Adam is like, realizes in that moment that if he doesn't press charges against his dad, Ronan is going to get expelled, because Ronan's already in the shit. So Adam finally is like, okay, I'm going to press charges against my dad. I'm going to find a way to move out. Fine, Gansey, you win. I'll move into Monmouth manufacturing. You get me your little another little doll for your doll house. And Gansey's like, this isn't how I wanted it to happen.
What are you talking about, my dude?
Yeah. And like, Adam deaf in one ear because his dad hit him so bad, like which continues through the rest of the series, doesn't get better. Adam's in a dark place, and like they realize something needs to be sacrificed, like on the ley line to wake it up. And Adam decides, I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do this, and interrupts Welk and Nev's little ordeal there. We think Nev dies. I think at the end of this book,
she's disappeared, and the implication is that she may be dead, but she's just not found. It's one of those where if you don't see the body, they're not actually dead kind of tropes. And she just exists in the background, and they realize that she had been fucking around with magics beyond what she should have been. she was doing some really intense scrying, which is where you go to see things, but your soul has to leave your body. And there's also a scene where our girl, Blue, walks on her scrying outside, and something is speaking through Neve with a really weird voice. And then she's gone, and there's just weird shit in the attic where she was living. But that's how that book ends. Cave.
Oh, and there's a funeral for Noah.
Yes.
Because the body has been found. Like, the police officially his family finally gets closure 7 years later. And after the funeral, they dig up the body and they move it back to the ley line, and then Noah's pops back out again. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm back because I'm buried on the ley line now. Still a ghost."
Yes.
Time for book 2, and Ronan drops the bombshell. "Hey guys, I got this little bird out of this crow that I've been or raven rather that I've been taking care of this whole time. I took it out of my dreams."
I took it out, and so that's where that book ends, which is perfect segue into book 2, which is called Dream Thieves. And basically, this book is kind of Ronan Lynch's book, and basically, you learn that Ronan Lynch can take things out of his dreams. His dad could do the same thing. His dad, Neil Lynch, was super important to him. He loved his dad. He has a really strained relationship with his older brother, Declan, who is kind of like the greasy businessman kind of vibe, like the liar of the family. One of the things about Ronan is he might be a bag of knives, but he's a truthful bag of knives, and he doesn't lie. Declan lies, and he hates that. And then their younger brother is
Matthew,
is a Labrador. He's
just a little like golden puppy dog.
Yeah, he's just a heckin' good boy. But Lynch's dad died a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't remember. But he
died fairly recently.
Yeah,
I think
he found his dad's body on like the front, like the driveway, like beaten to death with a tire iron, and it has scarred him. Gansey regularly talks about Ronan before and the Ronan after, but Ronan has been struggling with his dreams. Gansey thought he had previously attempted to commit, but it was actually one of his dreams attacking him, and when he came to, he was bloodied because he brings things back intentionally, unintentionally. And this book is kind of surrounding what Ronan is, which is the Grey Warren, kind of this. We don't exactly actually know what it is, because we do meet other characters who can take things out of dreams, but there is one Grey Warren.
It seems to, there seems to be an implication that there's just one main Grey Warren for Caveswater, which is the magical land that has just been woken up by.
And Ronan is kind of like processing a lot of his shit. And while that's happening, there's a guy called the Gray Man. The Gray Man's in town. The Gray Man works for a shady guy, but the Gray Man's here to find the Grey Warren. He thinks it's an item. He's a really cool, supposed mercenary.
His
assassin.
Introduction is so funny because, like, he comes across in, like, his, like, narrative, like, his chapters, like, as a very practical man. Like, it's very funny. Like, just, like, he goes into, like, a little B&B, and he like drinks beers with the little B&B owners, and he's like he's like, oh, this is the cutest little assassin I've ever seen.
He really is, and even the way he thinks about his rental cars, and he talks about how his last one he had to pay extra fees because there was a weird stain in the back that needed to be dealt with, and there's literally a point he's like, I'm gonna have to get rid of this car because it's probably gonna
he's like, oh, maybe I should upgrade to mid-size. I don't know, like, his like little inner monologue, there's just little charming bits about it that are, you're like, interesting villain cam on this assassin character. I will say I've got synesthesia, which like makes colors like for letters really weird in my head, and having the Grey Warren, the Grey Man, and Green Mantle as all like GR like kind of words. I was just like, the first time I kept getting them mixed up because I was like, colors, they're all the same. But that's just a side note.
It is a wild choice to, in a book where we hear about the Grey Warren so much, also have the Grey Man. And he wears all gray, which, like, that's a choice. And his employer doesn't really know who he was before this, but he's the vibe is he's the best of the best. You got a job, you want this guy. He's not like beefy or brawny. He's just fucking good at what he does. And he ends up going to he ends up meeting the ladies at 300 Foxway. He goes in for a reading, but he's trying to find out information because they're psychics, and he's here to find a psychic phenomenon, this Grey Warren box.
And it's very funny because all three ladies are like, kind of cute. Though.
He is, and then he's like, actually, I'm a hitman. Like very quickly, he's just like, yeah, I lied. I'm a hitman. And they were like, did you kill someone today? And it very quickly, like, and him and Mora.
I always call her Moira when I'm talking, but it's Mora.
Yeah. Him and Mara end up having a little romance, but basically. People are looking for the Grey Warren. The reason Ronan's father died previously was because somebody was looking for the Grey Warren, and they went to talk to him, and it was actually the Grey Man. The Grey Man killed Ronan's father because he'd been looking for the Grey Warren previously. He's back here now because now that they woke up Cabeswater, the energy signals in Henrietta are off the chain, but also. They keep going and fluctuating where like sometimes they're really powerful and it pops the electricity out, but also it's not working super well. Like something seems to be sapping the ley lines. We also have Adam, who's now like the hands and eyes of the of Cabeswater, but like he doesn't know how to communicate with it. So Cabeswater's kind of haunting him, giving him weird visions and stuff like that. Him and Gansey are having a heckin' strained relationship. Blue and Gansey, Adam and Blue break up in the first half of this book. They were never really dating, but Adam has a temper, much like his father, and there's a lot of shit happening to him, and he's very stressed. And
at one point, Blue goes over to his new apartment that he's set up in because he refuses to live with Gansey and Gansey's little dollhouse. So Blue goes over there, and he's just angry. And at one point, he kicks something, and Blue is just like, dude,
not today. My mama
and
didn't raise me that way.
There are a couple of times where Adam is maybe not in this book, maybe it was the previous one, I don't remember, but he's I'd very much like to kiss you, Blue. And she's like, oh, you can't because I'm very young. I think that's her excuse.
Yes. I'm young, and then there's a point where she's like, if I don't want to, that's it. You don't get a reason. But she has told Gansey the actual reason why she can't kiss him because of that.
So Adam talks to Gansey, and he's like, Blue says she doesn't want to kiss me because she's young, and Gansey knows, and he's like, I wonder, I guess she's pretty young.
And he's like, could you talk to her? Which, my dude, why would you ask your bro to talk to your girl about why, Adam, my sweet
Adam.
Summer child, no.
He's not doing so hot.
He's not doing so hot. And there's also something we learn in this book, which is Ronan is actually putting a lot of care into taking care of Adam. Adam's new apartment is above a church, and it's actually the church that Ronan goes to. As an Irish family, they were very Catholic, and so it's a room above St. Agnes. When tuition goes up, Ronan works with the church to lower his rent the appropriate amount to cover the increase in tuition. And so you very much get the sense, because in book one, Ronan kind of seemed like a better friend with Gansey than necessarily with Adam, but you very much get in this book the sense that they are more that Ronan does really care for Adam. Ronan keeps pulling shit out of his dreams to show them, and they kind of discover that what he can do and kind of working around it. He pulls out a language box that can translate a bunch of different languages, one of which they can't recognize.
It's very fun because they're the language box translates, because sometimes the trees speak in pretty good Latin. Sometimes it's kind of a bad made up Latin. So the box can translate both of them if you put it in. A lot of the dream stuff they describe are really cool. Just like toasters that work without being plugged in. You go to the barns or whatever, which is what Ronan's family house is called, and there's just random crap everywhere that's doing stuff. Live animals that they pulled out of dreams. It's cool.
And one of the things you learn is that Ronan's dad actually pulled his mother out of one of his dreams, and when the dreamer dies, the dream objects in the real world just kind of almost go to sleep. So his mother has been like
in a coma, essentially.
Since his dad died, and he, like processing that, realizing that maybe if he can bring his mother to Cabe's Water, which is also a dream, like magical dream space, maybe she can come back to life. But Cabe's Water is missing. It's gone. They went to go see it, and it's gone, because Adam was also like, I need to go see Cabe's Water. I made this deal with it, and I haven't gone, but it's gone. What has happened to it? Turns out, when you pull shit from dreams, you're draining the ley line. And somebody else in this book, who I haven't mentioned yet, his name is Kavinsky. And Kavinsky, the voice the narrator does for Kavinsky is wild.
So crazy, but it works so well.
It's a 1950s greaser is the voice he does for Kavinsky. But Kavinsky is an Aglenby student who has these crazy cars. He's an excellent forger. He can do really cool shit. Again, this is one of those moments where I wish Kavinsky had been, like, even just name dropped as, like...
He was name dropped in the first one, actually.
He was?
I noticed.
Okay, good. I didn't notice on my... when I was just listening to it, but he's a great forger. He can do stuff, and he starts playing this game with Ronan where he keeps giving Ronan stuff that are forgeries of things that Ronan has. So then Ronan, from his dreams, pulls out stuff to give to Kavinsky, not realizing that what Kavinsky's trying to impart to him is, hey, buddy, I pull shit out of dreams too. It all comes to a head, though, when Ronan does something he's not supposed to do. He takes, we haven't even mentioned this, Gansey has a Camaro. It's a beat-up, shitty thing, but it's also amazing.
He loves it so much. It's like a classic car, but it doesn't work right, and it's very much part of his personality.
Yes, and they call it the Pig. And how he became friends with Adam was this car regularly breaking down, and Adam does mechanic work. But while Gansey and Adam are off on visiting his mother's having a fundraiser or like something at
like a Congress sort of a thing
in DC, because she's running for Congress. It's in like she's like prepping her shit. They go there. While they're there, he's like, I want to race. Ronan's like, I want to race Peter Kavinsky. And so he has dreamt a copy of the Camaro's keys. And so he takes it out, and Noah's like, this isn't a good idea. What are you doing? They find Kavinsky. They race, but for some reason Kavinsky's car is faster than it should be. And also previously they saw Kavinsky destroy his car. He has a very specific white Mitsubishi with specific tags and a specific
the
painting.
License plate says thief.
Yes. And there's painting on the side of it. So it's a very specific car. And then like 2 days later, after he destroyed the Mitsubishi, Kavinsky shows back up in the same car. So Ronan's like, I can beat him. I'm in the Camaro, which has more horsepower than my BMW. Let's go. But Kavinsky beats him, and he's like, how the hell did he beat me in the same car I've beaten in a lesser car? But he ends up getting into an accident, and he totals the Camaro. Great Scott. Shitty situation.
Great Scott.
Great Scott.
Gansey's gonna fucking kill me.
Gansey's gonna kill me. And then Kavinsky's like, don't worry, dude. I like, follow me.
Don't worry, man. Come to my party.
Come to my, what do you do when your kid's goldfish dies? You get him a new goldfish. He doesn't even know. And he's like, what are you talking about? This is a specific car. And that's when Kavinsky's like, surprise, motherfucker. I can pull things out of dreams too. And they start trying to dream the Camaro, and Kavinsky kind of starts teaching
It's almost
him.
like a training montage, like a fucked up training
Which
montage.
is hysterical, because they keep just taking drugs to fall asleep, and then they wake up with different items. But while that's happening, Adam is getting some training, because he's not having a great time. He comes back with... well, actually, no. Ronan ends up getting the Camaro out of the dreamscape. Gansey, because... fucking Kavinsky.
Gansey and Adam have a terrible time at this party. It goes, Adam has like a full little meltdown, like it's like half panic attack, half like Cabe's Water kind of closing in on him. And he's just like, I'm out of my element. All of these people, like Gansey just knows how to talk to them. I don't. And I think he just like ends up like walking on the side of like the freeway.
After having broken a bunch of Gansey's mom's collectibles, which like Yikes. But they literally find him. He goes missing for a while. They find him on the side of a freeway. He doesn't remember what happened, and so he's kind of losing bits of himself. They end up, being very nice and getting him Gansey's family somehow fakes their way into giving this kid a car. It is awesome.
It's just Helen is what if I'll say, oh, I just want to get rid of this junk anyway. I was just gonna am I still there?
What happened? What just happened? Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Okay. What happened?
I don't know. I just you went full screen.
That was so weird.
It decided you wanted to be the center of attention.
I wasn't even talking.
Yeah, essentially, they're just oh, you'd be doing us a favor by taking this piece of junk, essentially. And
you'll save Adam us the cost of, and Adam takes it, but he kind of knows something is up, but it's also a piece of shit car. So he's and
he's exhausted, and stressed. She's fine.
So they get back to Henrietta, and Ronan is in the Camaro, and he's like, this isn't the Camaro, but I dreamt it, and it's exactly the same. Drive it, you'll see. And they're like, oh my god, he pulled this out. And at this point, Persephone trains our boy Adam. He takes him into Cave's water, and he was they basically do this ritual that attunes him, because he was you offered yourself, but you haven't done any of your service, you haven't done any of you need to accept that you are a different creature. And so something about Adam fundamentally changes. She gives him a pack of tarot cards so that he
can kind of communicate with Cave's water.
Yes. And they realize they have to get some shit done. Mora and the Gray Man realize shit needs to happen. There's a showdown happening where Adam, once communing with Cave's water, realizes that the Dreamers are taking the life of Cave's water. All the energy, the reason it's disappeared is because the magic of the ley line is being tapped by the Dreamers. Drained by the dreaming, Ronan's I'll stop, but Kavinsky, and he tries to tell Kavinsky, would you stop dreaming if we told you it was killing the world? And he was perfect. And so he was okay, we're just gonna have to get rid of Kavinsky. While that is happening, the Gray Man and his employer are having a problem, because the Gray Man has now realized the Grey Warren is not a thing. It is not an item. It is a actual teenager, and he cannot steal that. He's not a kidnapper, so he's not going to do it. So he tries to tell his boss, it's not a thing. I can't take it. It's a phenomenon. And his boss is you found it. And so basically, to draw his boss off the scent and keep him from sending a bunch of people in, he pretends that he actually does have it, and he's going to run away and try draw the ire of his really shitty boss away from them. Meanwhile, Ronan or Persephone and Adam are on a quest to restore parts of the ley line that have broken down and are leeching power, so they can have enough energy to feed into Ronan to use to combat Kavinsky. Because Kavinsky's my 4th of July party, man, where you better bring something
We need more
big.
Mitsubishis.
Yeah, you better
we need dragons.
You better bring something big. We're going to have a battle. And they're oh, shit. and so there's all this stuff. You have the Gray Men going here. Persephone and Adam are trying to fix this thing. Kavinsky goes to sleep. And Kavinsky has stolen Ronan's little brother, who, as I mentioned before, golden little puppy dog.
Best boy, not too bright, but just the sweetest little guy.
Sweetest little thing. And he's in one of the Mitsubishis that they're going to be blowing up over the course of this 4th of July party. Kavinsky literally summons a giant dragon creature from his dreams, and Ronan has to bring something to combat that. And he starts having a nightmare, because he has nightmares all the time, and in his nightmares there are these dream horror creatures that attack him and want to kill him. And as he's in Cave's water and he's asking for something to help, a night horror appears, and he's no, that's not it. And then a voice tells him, why do you hate that it's you? And he realizes the night horrors are his own self-hatred of himself, and he kind of reaches out to the night horror, and he pulls it through, and he pulls through this giant albino night horror, and his night horror and Kavinsky's dragon are up fighting. Blue and Gansey are looking through all the Mitsubishis trying to find this child. They end up finding him when Kavinsky's dragon dies. Kavinsky dies. He just gone. And then everything, stops. They grab it. The Gray Man decided he was actually going to fight and try stay. And so he turned around and he went back to like help Henrietta and the people there. And he also really likes Mora. Like they had a date. It was really cute. He also likes Blue.
Really cute.
Yeah, he likes Blue. He gives Blue.
He and Blue get along.
Yeah,
a little pink switchblade.
Pink switchblade, and he was like, "Here, you'll need this," and she does, and it's really useful.
She does need it. She's really good at setting up these like smoking gun sort of things.
And you think they're tiny little inconsequential details, but they really do come back later, where you really feel that she does have like a plan for what she's writing. These books don't feel completely like, there are elements that kind of get added in later, but there's a lot of elements that have been here since the beginning that build on each other.
So much of it is just done so purposefully that like you can ignore the messy bits, because it's just so overall so beautifully done. And
this book basically ends where they find out like they did everything. They're like, phew, Cave's Water's back. Ronan brings his mom there. And
he's alive in Cave's Water.
She's alive in Cave's Water. His younger brother's so happy, but someone's mother is now missing. Because dun dun, Mora was scrying, and she saw that Glendower and Blue's father is a unknown entity, where it's a guy that Mora met when she was younger, who kind of disappeared. His name was Artemis. She called him Butternut, and then he kind of just like disappeared for a while. And she had asked her sister Neve from book 1 to come and help her find this guy originally. Not for romantic reasons, but I just think for curiosity and to kind of like
what happened. He disappeared right after Blue was born. Like I need to kind of know.
No. And she realized that Artemis and Glendower are underground, so she went underground. But like,
and she leaves the most bare bones note that is just like, going underground, like, peace.
And that's it. And now she's missing. And like the book ends, and it's been like a month since her mom, or like the book ends, and they're like, oh no, what's happening? Thus, book 3. But before we do that, thoughts on book 2? Yes,
I've got a few things I want to. One, I love the way this author does Ronan, because it's not explicitly said that he's gay at any point. Nope. You just slowly realize it over the course of it, and it becomes clear that it's not a secret to any of his friends or really anyone in his life at all. Like, there's even a couple nods at it in Raven Boys that are super, super easy to miss, and there's more nods to it in the Dream Thieves. You very slowly realize, oh, Ronan's gay. And it would be so easy to turn him into like an angry, kind of internalized homophobia character, but he's just not. He's just like, I know that I'm gay, and he's not ashamed of it, and there's none of that like trope that you would expect of an angry, like sharp, like character like this. And I love it. I adore it.
And it works so well, because as you realize that Ronan is gay, you also realize that Ronan has the biggest crush on Adam.
It's a slow build-up, but it's so like, and like the last chapter, because there's kind of a mirror of the first and last chapter in A Dream Thieves, where it starts with like, and I'm going to read part of the first one because it's really well written, but like different kinds of secrets that you have, and talking about different secrets in the first chapter, and there's just a throwaway line in the last chapter. Ronan's like, second secret was Adam. Moves on to the next one. And you can just see him taking care of Adam throughout the first book too, even when he like shows up and like punches his dad and like is paying for his apartment. The guy just really, really cares for him, and it's really sweet.
It really is, and it's going to pick up a lot more in the third book, but it works so well. And again, this book works because of, number one, Ronan's self-discovery and like him kind of coming to terms with himself, his dreams, and a huge part of his process that's going to continue. Like, he's going to fully like come to terms with some stuff later, but this book wouldn't work well if Ronan wasn't such a well-developed. This is my asshole, my bag of knives. Hi, baby boy. But if Ronan wasn't such a well-developed and complex and sympathetic character that you like genuinely, do you want to sit in my lap? What's happening here? Are you gonna settle?
You're just gonna keep walking around. Mm-hmm. Just a little noodle.
He is. His father's not home, so he's settling in, coming to sit with Mom. He's the world's biggest...
Attention, please.
Yes. Okay. You done? All right. But yeah, so it works so well. And then Kavinsky kind of is the foil to Ronan as this other, like, really violent and chaotic and irreverent teenager, but in a very different way. And you learn that Kavinsky was also like Adam abused. But Kavinsky killed his dad and then replaced his dad with and one of his friends. Like, Kavinsky has, and it's such a throwaway line. I missed it on my first read through. But this is how intentional she is with some lines, and how much she does not hold the reader's hands, where if you're not paying attention to certain things, it's just not gonna...
The prose is sharp and quick, and if you miss it, she's already moved on.
Because there's a line where he talks about, like, if you, like, it'll be complicated if you kill this person, and he's like, I already did it with my dad. And so it's about Ronan's younger brother, and he's like, I already did it with my dad and Prokopenko, who's his, like, henchman friend. And he was like, they were much more complicated than your brother. And the implication is he killed both of them and then brought them back in, like, he dreamed them and brought them into the real world to hide his crime, which is such an insane thing to just hide in the middle of an action scene.
It's crazy. And, like, you kind of almost get the sense that Ronan barely heard it. Like it's just, like, it's so chaotic that it's like, and Ronan's not doing well at this point. Like, he's been he's been dreaming way too much. And there's also a great little bit, like, when, like, Ronan and Kavinsky, right?
Yep.
Are just on a bender, like, pretty much doing this shit. And Ronan, like, has a very brief thought, I wonder if Kavinsky's gay. And you just get the, like, just, like, a throwaway, a real quick thing. And he's like, oh, buddy, no, you deserve better than this nasty little thing.
Yep.
But, like...
And there's also one of the subtle things in this where he's like, oh, you're gay and you like boys. And Ronan doesn't deny it. And you realize, oh, he didn't deny it because he is. And because when I tell you, the book is so beautifully subtle about that. Like, it's not... You're right. It so easily could have fallen into the trope of, like, the self-hatred,
like
because
he was angry, like, internalized homophobia thing. But it just doesn't. I love it for that. And, like, people will, like, call Ronan, like, a faggot, and he's just like, yeah, so like, a little bit. And it's like, it's great. It's such a refreshing subversion of, like, that trope that we're so used to. And I don't even know if, like, there are a few things we didn't even talk about this one, but there's just a couple of quotes. One in the prologue that's just kind of describing, like, the lore of the Lynch family a little bit, and how Neil Lynch kind of preferred Ronan. He always said Ronan differently from other words, as if he meant to say another word entirely, something like knife or poison or revenge, and then swapped it out for Ronan's name the last moment. When you were born, the rivers dried up, and the cattle in Rockingham County wept blood. It was a story he had told more than once, but Ronan's mother, Aurora, insisted it was a lie. She said when Ronan emerged, the trees all grew flowers, and Henrietta ravens laughed. When his parents bickered back and forth about his birth, Ronan never pointed out that both versions could be true. Declan, the oldest of the Lynch brothers, once said, "And what happened when I was born?" Neil Lynch looked at him and said, "I wouldn't know. I wasn't there." When Neil said Declan, it always sounded like he meant to say Declan, which I thought was just a great little summary of family dynamics, and just well phrased.
And the refrains of Ronan's name comes up. So this is the first time we see it, with his dad saying Ronan and meaning something else. And then I think it's in book 3. No, it might be book 4. Yeah, I think it's book 4, where 3 different characters say Ronan's name. And the first 3, when they say it, he was like, they said Ronan, but they meant this. They said Ronan, but they meant this. And then Adam says his name, and he was like, and he just meant Ronan. and it was like a relief in the moment to have someone say his name, and it just was referring to him and not like whatever implication it carried. And it's such a beautiful seed.
Because Ronan is like an image of a bad boy to so many. He's like a problem to people. He's a snake. He's all of these things. And just for that moment, for him to be seen just as himself, beautiful and just so well set up. The other ones that I highlighted that I thought were kind of funny are scenes we didn't mention. One of them that I kind of had an issue. It's a mild issue. I think it's realistic for teen girls to be weird and jealous of each other, but the scene with Blue and Orla in the bikini on the boat, when they were like searching for something in Cabe's water, I didn't hate it. I hated it a little bit. Like, it just kind of felt like, why are we doing the girl hate? But also, girl hate is kind of real for teenage girls. So
I also saw it as like almost like a sibling hatred. And so there's two ways you can. And actually, no, it's all both of those things, because it is. It's Blue aware of the ways in Orla is feminine and presents differently than she does, and the way that boys / men / young men will observe that, but completely unaware of the ways in which she is also already being like that she is appreciated in the same way. And it's just like Blue is also in that stage of feminism where like the open like the idea of a woman dressing in like she perceives that Orla dresses this way because she's going to be on a boat with boys, and so the idea of a woman who dresses to please the male gaze is like hateful to her in that way, where like, because like I had a stage, my favorite color is
feel
pink.
Like most girls do.
My favorite color is pink. If you had asked me in 6th grade, I would have been like, pink's gross. So, that's such a my favorite color is red.
So many people I know. My college roommate like was homeschooled, and like we were both like in our early 20s when we were rooming together. We're still best friends, but she was like, if you have anything pink, and then 2 years later she was like, Valerie, I actually really like pink. I think I had some internalized things.
Yeah, it 100% is. You think you're being the most progressive little bub by disliking the thing, but also I think the envy of not having it, because like Orla is tall, kind of like dark complexioned. Her stomach is described as miles of tanned skin.
Yeah, and it's fun because it's described in like Gansy's perspective, and it's not really overtly sexualized. It's more just like, kind of, and which I loved. I thought it was great, and as someone who also appreciates the female form a little bit, I thought it was hilarious the way like I've got to read it because there's a description of it, and he was like, girl body, and then a tiny part of Gansy's brain said, you've been staring too long. A larger part of his brain said, the color of her bikini, orange. And I'm just like, that's just like, sometimes I just like see a pretty girl, I'm like, oh, like just one word, like orange. Like, it's just so good. It's so succinct.
And it just works because it's also, it's not just that like it is a woman's body, it's in this bright orange bikini, like the way that you interact with things. But then there's also a line where he talks about, I think it's Blue's ankles, like she's wearing a set of capris or something, and he found
like 2 inches like of flesh there, more interesting.
Yes.
He was like, but it's Adam's job to like
look at that
or something.
I shall not look or comment upon it. And I do, and it also, I think, because it is like, and there is a moment where like you almost wish Blue had another female friend.
See, that's one of my main, I was going to get to this later, but this is a fine enough time to talk about it, because I think Blue would have at least one friend, even if it's not a good friend, even if it's a very superficial friend. I think she would have at least one friend.
A named friend, just a named friend that like she has lunch with, and that maybe through her relationship with the boys, she realized that she was holding herself apart, like, because there's a revelation she has in book 4, where she realizes that she has never had a really close, intimate relationship with people, and that she's kind of been holding herself apart in a lot of ways and not allowing herself to genuinely connect. And that would punch so much more if she had someone who she, like, in her head thought of as her best friend, but realized that she wasn't actually interacting with in a, like, genuine way, and that her best friend didn't even think of her as a best friend because they weren't, like, they were more just acquaintances.
Or even, like, so, and Maggie, like, she tries to, like, you know, kind of brush it aside as, like, Blue kind of pushes people away on purpose. She's the weird girl. She's the weird girl with the psychics. She has this image that she's trying to uphold. But I don't think that would have been the case. I don't believe that about Blue. She's charming enough that at the very least, she would have another, like, weird, quirky girl in class that she, even if they weren't really friends, sat with and talked to.
Exactly.
Like, even if they didn't hang out, there would be people that she talked to and, like, had, like, a certain amount of respect or banter or what, even if it was just situational. Like, and the fact that she doesn't have that, I do not buy for a second.
I completely agree, and it's unfortunate because the focus is, I understand, I can understand, I think, the implication, or not the implication, the not wanting to take away too much time from, like, their relationship, but I don't think it would have needed to take up any page time. It's just something to have on page, like, you know, maybe her friend texted her about the math assignment and she realized, oh my God, I haven't even done that. I've been so distracted from hanging out with the boys.
I don't think it would have taken that much page time because, like,
no.
So many of my friends, like, growing up in public school were extreme. I didn't have, like, a ton of them. Some of them were very situational and, like, they would, like, come and go as the years passed. Like, I'd be like, oh, I get along with this person because we're in this class together. Yep. Or, like, maybe we've been going to school together since, like, elementary school and we're not really close anymore, but we still, like, have that sort of, like, bond. It could just be mentioned. It, like, and this author, I know she's really good at sprinkling in, like, side characters like that. I know she could do it. That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah,
like,
and you can almost forgive it because there are quite a few female characters in this book.
And Blue has a lot of women in her life, like, yeah.
Tons. But it just, I completely agree. It is bizarre to me that there is not one female friend. I thought maybe perhaps her and Declan's, because Declan has a girlfriend. Declan is Ronan's older brother that, like, is kind of smart. Like, at the beginning of the first book, everybody's like, oh, that one's going to be, like, one of the dumb ones, and she's actually, like, smart. And I thought, oh, it would be interesting if she popped up at some point. And then, like, yeah, and
she doesn't.
Yeah, she doesn't. And if it was just like a side friendshipy thing, like a little
even.
You know who gets more, like, time than, like, if you think about the old couple that owned the B&B that you know, like, they had character, like, in the 2 seconds they were on page, you didn't have to mention them, but
Jesse did in the next one.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, I fucking love Jesse Diddley.
Me too. I fucking love that man so much.
So much.
It would have cost so little page time, and it would have made so much more sense, because Blue is charming in her own way, and I don't believe that, like, she would be such an outcast in this school. Like, I really don't. Like, for most people, maybe, sure. But, like, I had a lot of weird friends growing up.
And they even said she went past the point of weird, where for the most part she was actually kind of cool. Like, people liked her, and I'm like, she doesn't have one friend who would call her
not a single one.
Not one that would call her on a Saturday and be like, yo, we're going to the mall, you want to come?
Or not, like, one weird astrology girl who was, like, really into it and, like, can your mom, like, do a reading for me or something? like, wouldn't that be cool?
Just anything. Even just like, hey, I didn't go to school today. What was that math assignment? And then Blue's like, oh, she completely forgot to take notes during that day because she was just something. Like, does she have friends out of the boys? Not that we're allowed to know, and we're kind of told no, she doesn't actually have anyone she's really close to.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been such a big issue to me if, like, school wasn't such a larger part in the fourth book specifically, because they actually kind of spend time at the school a little bit, and then it made me think about it more, and I was like, wait, Blue.
Yep.
Anyway.
Can I also say, I don't know how Blue managed to keep her job at Nino's. Like, book 1 and 2 happens while they are in
Nor does
school.
Adam have 3 jobs.
And still manages to do all of this. I don't know where these people find the fucking time. And, like, Gansey's doing his homework. Adam's doing his homework. Adam has 3 jobs. They're going on adventures.
To a certain degree, I'm willing to extend my disbelief on, like, the jobs, because, like, we don't linger on it. I don't know. I'm willing to do it with that for some reason, but because that's mostly, like, set dressing, it's the character thing with Blue. Blue would have
friends. Blue would have at least one.
A friendly acquaintance.
Yes. who would get mentioned a couple times. And who would hear about the boys and be like, they sound hot. I want to meet them. Yeah. Like, you have or be judgmental or anything. And again, could be used as a great realization that, like, with a specific person, that Blue wasn't fully allowing herself to be friends with people that she knew. And that's something she should change, and that allowing that kind of friendship should be something that happens, and it doesn't take a mystical quest to find a king to make great friends.
Yeah, and I think, like, the author was, like, playing with that a little bit. Like, it was kind of there. And before we move on to book 3, the last thing I want to mention is Blue fully has a little crush on Gansey now. They're not really talking about it, but it is there. And at one point, she and Noah, our ghost boy, are alone in Monmouth manufacturing together. And she's like, tells Noah about this, and he's like, well, I'm not a boy, I'm dead. You can't kill me. So they have, so he's like, you want to do a kiss? She was like, yeah, okay. So they start, and it's really sweet at first because they're like awkward, like there's like hair in the mouth, like
face
like,
matching.
I think we did that wrong. He's like, well, wait, I wasn't ready, and it's very cute. They're like giggling together about it, and then like eventually like Blue is like, are you sure you've done this before? He's like, I wasn't ready. And then he's like, Blue's like, okay, like picture how they do it in the movies. And then Blue thinks about that little like a scene that she had with Gansey, like in her scrying pool or whatever, and she's like, I got a problem. And it was a very sweet little kiss. And then Noah was like,
and she's crying, and Noah's crying, and it's such a beautiful scene. I can't emphasize, we haven't mentioned Noah a ton, but I cannot.
He's so sweet.
He's so sweet, and I think it starts in book 2. Is it book 2 or book 3 where he starts? I think it might be book 3, but like he starts to deteriorate. So at the end of book 1, they put him on the ley line. He kind of comes back. Book 2, he can kind of poof in and out, but when the ley line like winks out, when Cave's water winks out, Noah disappears as well. And so Noah is kind of in and out, and it's kind of beyond his control. But he is such a sweet and just wholesome and funny part of the series. And it's just like, and he's so invested in everybody else and what's happening. And they treat him like a person and not just a prop. Like, he is part of the friend group. And it's so nice. The scene when Ronan wrecks the Camaro, Noah's in the car with him, and Noah's he's like, I'm not going to die I'm not going to die if something goes wrong, Ronan. You are. Like, and he's so genuinely, he cares about the Camaro for Gansey. He cares about Ronan being alive because Ronan's his friend. It's
so sweet. It's so sweet. Like, yeah, like, sorry, let me just, if I could read, it's a long passage, but Blue like agrees to like practice kissing on him, and she's like, okay, what? I said, okay. He blushed, or rather, because he was dead, he became normal colored. He propped himself up on an elbow. Well, she unburied her face from the pillow, just like he leaned toward her. Blue felt a thrill for half a second. No, more like a quarter second, because after that, she felt the too firm pucker of his tense lips. His mouth mashed hers until it met teeth. The entire thing was at once slimy, ticklish, and hilarious. They both gasped an embarrassed laugh. Noah said, bah! Blue considered wiping her mouth, but felt it would be rude. It was all fairly underwhelming. She said, well, wait, Noah replied. Wait. He pulled one of Blue's hairs out of his mouth. I wasn't ready. He shook out his hands as if Blue's lips were a sporting event, and cramping was a very real possibility. Go, Blue said. This time, they only got within a breath of each other's lips when they both began to laugh. She closed the distance and was rewarded with another kiss that felt a lot like kissing a dishwasher. I'm doing something wrong, she suggested. Sometimes it's better with tongue, he replied dubiously. They regarded each other. It's such a fun little scene.
It is. And it catches you off guard because it starts like this and it's fun and silly, but
then by the end, like, they're crying and he's like, if I was alive, I would ask you out. And it's like, oh, no.
There is this inherent sadness to Noah that's going to come full circle, and it's one of the things that works the best where, like, the others have so much potential, and as much as you love Noah and he's part of this group, he is dead. And he will have this half-life because he doesn't sleep, he can't eat. For some reason, he really likes going to the gelato parlor. But, and you just know that the only thing that's left for him is to cross over and pass over, where for the rest of these potatoes, they're going to go live and stuff. And it is so tragic because in this moment, he misses life.
Yeah. And, like, there's so much more in the next one, like in the next two books than in these ones, but, like, it's referenced that, like, he says out loud one time, he's like, I don't think I liked who I was as a person. I think I like who I am now better than I was before. And then you also kind of just, like, just little hints that he's not quite the same person he was when he was alive. We don't really know that Noah anymore. Like, he did die. So, like, this Noah that exists is very, like, ethereal in between places. And it's hard. It's tragic. Like
it really is. Noah is by far he's like the sleeper emotional impact of this, because the entire time you're ready for Gansey to die. And you know he's not gonna die, but, like, that's what you think the emotional core of the story is going to be. It's going to be Gansey dying. Because you find out in book one that in the next year, Gansey's him's gonna be a dead boy. And so you just know it's happening. And Noah really is the sleeper emotional core of the story, because he, at the end of it, he's the one that's not there in a really beautiful and tragic and like, it's just, I could almost make myself cry thinking about it, because it just works so well because of how it's built up.
In the hands of a less talented author, he would just be a nothing character. He
would be a ghost of a character. Yeah. He'd be the thought. He'd be like a cardboard cutout of, like, a ghost emoji in the background of scenes, and he is so genuinely, and he has moments with almost all of the characters where he has these genuine moments of real connection with them. Especially, I love him and Ronan, and him and Blue are just delightful.
Adorable, yeah.
Yeah, and he likes being around Blue. Blue gives him energy, so he is more stable and more of himself when he is around her versus when she isn't there, and it just makes for such a really cute relationship.
It's just so well done. Yeah. It's so well done.
It is. It's so
Are we ready for Blue Lily Blue?
We are. So this book opens. Mora is like, man, if I realized I was going to be in this cave so long, I would have written a different note that would have said, like, hey guys, if I'm not back in a while, maybe come get me. And because she's gone to find, she realized that Glendower's underground, but there's also 3 sleepers, one which they need to wake up, one which they must never wake, and then kind of the in-between one. And she is going to find Artemis, and also to make sure that nobody wakes up the second sleeper, that they're not supposed to wake up. And she thought it was going to take a day, but now she's down here in these caverns. She doesn't know how long it's been. She has a sense of timelessness where she senses that her battery's never really going to run out on her flashlight. And then it cuts to, so, like, that's the prologue, and then it cuts to chapter 1, which is Persephone and Adam, and she's trying to, she's training Adam, but she's also trying to find Mora and figure things out. And there's this beautiful line where she says, looking at the situation, if Mora had been there, she would have been able to help her get the answer. But if Mora had been there, she wouldn't have needed the answer. Because what they're trying to figure out is where the fuck did Mora go? And then it cuts to Kala and Blue doing the same thing, where they keep touching. Kala is psychometric. Psychometry? I don't remember.
I feel like it's that, but she like touches items and can like feel where they've been and where they come from, essentially.
And scenes about them, like, so she can feel what was happening in the last little bit. And they're trying to figure out as well, and that line comes up again where Kala was like, if it would be easier if Mora was here to do this thing, which is trying to find Mora, but if Mora was here, then she wouldn't need to be doing this thing. And it's just this, again, she has those refrains that she just, and they hit you because you realize that these three, because you get the three of them. The prologue is Mora, then you get Persephone looking for her, and then you get Kala looking for her. And it's just,
these women have been together so long. They're like a just a set like trio, and they all feel a little bit lost and out of sorts without each other. You get the sense. And like the number 3 comes up a lot. It's mentioned a lot as like a sort of like a powerful number, or I think I have one highlighted later. But essentially, like it's like all groups are sort of either growing or shrinking to 3 at all times, kind of, which I thought was interesting.
And there's a line where it was like, I think it's Neve at the end of this book, where she was like, 5 or 7 would be okay, but 3 is best. Like, there are these
that was the same line.
Yeah.
And then Blue is like, what about marriage? That's just 2 people. And Cal's like, why do you think so many marriages fail?
It just, so it's a beautiful opening, and we basically run in, it is summer now. They are looking, they're trying to figure out what happened to Mora. They realize she's obviously gone into a cave, and when Cabe's water at the end of book 2 kind of comes back, they discover that where there used to be that scrying pool, there is now a cave opening, and they're like, we have to go into the cave, we've got to find Mora. They try to go down, and they're all tied to each other. They've got their like gear on, and Gansey ends up falling through like into a hole that they couldn't see, and him and Adam kind of fall in, and Adam's trying to like coach him through, but Gansey starts having a panic attack because he hears buzzing in the cave with him,
and he feels something on his face.
Yeah, and he starts having a panic attack. And the thing about cave's water is it's about intention. If you start freaking out and thinking there are bees or hornets on you, it will make bees or hornets on you, and because you can change it. And Gansey has affected cave's water multiple times. There was a point where he saw there's a pool of fish and he saw them as red, and then he thought about it and he changed it to blue, and so his intention has affected cave's water before. And they're like, stop it. And Ronan, who realizes he has a special tie to this place because he's a dreamer, this is a kind of a dreamscape, he's trying to, like, everybody's like, no, cave's water, don't make it. And they're freaking out, and they hear wings, and it feels almost, but then it turns out to just be a ton of bats. But it's not a great experience. They all get out. Gansey no longer wants to go down that path. He's like, no, because, and our girl is like, what if we went down and saw what was down there? And we're like, it could be forever, it could be a thing. Like, we've got to find another entrance.
I feel like they hit a dead end. I feel like there was like a lake or something. Like they couldn't go any further.
No, he fell down, and they just they asked Ronan if he can dream a bridge, and he was like, I'd have to know what was on the other side. That was that
point. Yeah.
And then at this point, one of Gansey's friends / compatriots in his quest for ley line research, Robert Mallory, who's this old...
who has been mentioned in the previous books, too.
Mallory comes to visit. He's an old British guy who has done... he's an academic who has worked with Gansey, and he is coming to look at their ley line and see stuff, and they're hoping he'll be able to help them with some stuff. And one of the things they learned from him is he found a tapestry that had 3 women's faces who all had bloody hands. And they look at it, and all 3 faces are Blue's face. Like the 3 ladies on this tapestry. Just like the
Page of Cups on the tarot cards, yeah.
And so there's this sense that whatever is happening, Blue didn't just accidentally stumble into this group of boys. Because at this point, everyone is becoming special. Ronan is the Grey Warren. Adam is the magician of Cabeswater. He's magically tied to, and he does magic in a way that is very similar to Persephone, and like thus she's been training him and all of that jazz. And Gansey, like the leader, the king of the group, and we start to get the inkling that like our girl is tied to this more than we thought she was. And Mallory basically is like, hey, I think the cave you're looking for is probably on this mountain. And Gansey's like, oh, I looked there. There wasn't anything. I didn't see anything. And Blue's like, you probably didn't talk to the right people, because knowing Gansey, it would be like an academic from above, like step away approach. And she's like, you probably actually need to talk to the people, and you can't do that because you're not from here, and they're going to hear your voice and see your car and kick you the fuck out. So they go, and Blue kind of talks to a bunch of different neighbors and says, hey, have you heard of a cave in the area? We're doing a project for school. And they basically play hopscotch telephone until they get to Jesse Dintley and the Dintley cave. And Jesse Dintley is this giant man whose all of his dialogues is in all caps.
All caps.
Because
he's so good.
He's not screaming. He just has a booming voice. And he calls her an aunt, because it's so cute. God,
she's little. Like, just immediately, he's like, why are you so small? Yeah, don't you eat your vegetables?
Yeah, it's so cute.
I love him so much.
And he basically is like, yeah, I got a cave. It's cursed.
It's cursed, though.
Yeah, you can't go. And, like, because they come in to talk to him, and he was like, yeah, I got a cursed cave. All this weird shit happens, and da-da. And they were like, this is it. That's the one. And he's like, I like the look of you guys, so I am not letting you in. And they're like, what? We were so close, because he shows them the opening, and he's like, get you on out of here now. Like, fuck off.
And they're like, I thought you said, like, because he's like, this cave only kills Ditleys. And they're like, but we're not Ditleys. And he's like, still caves. It could still kill you.
Yeah, he was like, the curse only kills Ditleys, but the cave might be able to kill anyone. And so there's this idea that there's something happening, and you learn that the curse, like, it would cause, like, paintings to cry, terrible things to happen, and every generation, one of the Dintley men would go into the cave, and then it would stop for a generation, and then when all the weird shit starts up again, the next Dintley would go in. And so there was this idea of this ritual sacrifice that the Dintley men were taking to calm whatever is in there, and they were like, we need to get in here.
There's a lot of interesting discussions of like home in this book in particular, and that Jesse Dintley also kind of reflects, and because like Blue and like Gansey, they're like, well, why don't you just leave? Like, you don't have to stay on this property. Like, the cave doesn't have to eat you. Like, you don't have to die. And he's like, it's my home. And, like, there's a lot of discussion about home and other characters,
and
too.
It mirrors Ronan, because Ronan is finally able to go back to the Barns, which is his family's home for the first time. There's this whole thing about his dad's will that happens in the second book, but basically he gets to go back now, and his idea of home and his connection and Blue's connection to her home and the life she had, and how for Gansey, it's not where his parents or his family is. Henrietta is his home. And then
he's been some places, and he's like, oh, wow, I finally feel home here.
And then Adam's lack of a permanent home, and beginning to realize that maybe he could have one. So there's this, it's a really fascinating discussion of this thing. But while all of this is happening, enter Greenmantle. So the Gray Man, he's still hanging around. Mora's gone, and he's been hanging around. But what has happened is Greenmantle, his employer, after the Gray Man went rogue, has come into town with his wife, Piper. Now, Piper is sold to you initially as the pink Lululemon-wearing white woman who would ask to talk to a manager, but, like,
imagine just like the most insufferable, like, older millennial white woman you can imagine.
Yeah.
Like
and like she has her book club and her yoga, and she's just like, she hates.
I'm gonna read so many quotes from her because her chapters are so funny.
Do you have the line about her destroying the car because she's not made to be in a place where she can't walk to shops?
God, I don't know if I have that. Is that in this one or the?
It's in this one. It is. It's so fucking good. It is such a great line. This is why I have so many Piper quotes here too. Like, do you see all this pink? This is all Piper. I love Piper. She's fucking great.
She's so funny. Like, I honestly might. I kept like It's like everything she says is hilarious.
Okay, if you don't, I've pulled it up. One of the best parts of ebooks is I can just look up a
Thank
word
God. Yeah,
and find quotes.
That's the problem with this. Yeah. What point in the book is
it's when she's interested. It's when she's introduced. So it is in the initial scene. Yeah. So basically, Greenmantle has moved to Henrietta. He's now the Latin teacher at Aglenby. He's literally in the class with the boys. And his wife, and he's talking about how he got this farm and how his wife hates it. It says, his wife, although he didn't like to use the word wife because it made him think that he was now over 30, which he was, but still, he didn't need to be reminded in any way. He still had that boyish good looks. In fact, the cashier at the grocery store had even flirted with him just last night, even though it could have been the fact that he was overly overdressed for a cheese cracker run. He thought it was probably his aquamarine eyes because she'd been virtually swimming in them. His wife, so that was a whole aside in the middle of a sentence. His wife was taking the move to Henrietta better than he'd expected. So far, the only act of rebellion Piper had performed had been to wreck the rental car by driving it aggressively through a shopping center sign to demonstrate just how unsuited she was for living in a place where she couldn't walk to shops. It's just so good.
It's so good, and I'll read more as we go through it because she's so iconic, and she's got a couple of just banger little sentences in the fourth one too. Like, oh my God. I was talking to Kyle this morning because I bought the physical books because I wanted him to read it, and I was like, the premise, it sounds like a teeny book, but you're gonna like it. And he read it and he really liked it, and he was asking me about Greenmantle this morning. He's like, is Greenmantle like the big bad? And the last one I was like, oh no, that's his wife Piper. And he's like, oh yeah, Pink Mantle. I was like, yeah.
That's excellent. She's just so awesome. And again, our girl Stvietar is setting us up for a subversion where we think Greenmantle is going to be, because he's described as a spider at the center of a web, because very previously it was discovered that the Gray Man was who killed Ronan's dad. Ronan ends up forgiving / letting it go that happened, but when they discover that Greenmantle is in town and Greenmantle is actually the one who ordered him to kill his dad, Ronan's like, fuck that guy, I'm gonna kill him. And the Gray Man's like, you can't, he's a spider in a web. The way Greenmantle does things is he sets things up that if at any point he disappears, anything happens to him, you fuck with him, he will destroy your life on a foundational level. Like, he will make it so your kids can't go to college, you no longer have any money in your bank, he will frame you for a crime, you'll end up in prison, just a catastrophic destruction of your life in the modern age. And so it sets up that he's going to be the big bad, as we just showed. A first-time reader might go into book 3 and think this is going to be the big bad, but Stvietar, she's going to subvert your expectations because it's actually our girl Piper. As the book goes on, Greenmantle is kind of just a little useless as far as what he's trying to do. He's doing things, but Piper starts getting involved and very quickly shows that she is smart. She's smarter than you think she is in the beginning. She just gets things done, and she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. Greenmantle has survived his entire career of collecting weird-ass shit by having other people do it. And Piper's like, I'll go into the cave my fucking self. I'll start scrying. I'll start doing shit. And it's just, and she's like, we'll use it as bonding. And then she's like, fuck it. You don't want to do it. I'll do it myself.
I gotta read the one that I sent you because it was just so funny. Because the introduction being a Greenmantle is yeah, Piper, blah, blah, blah. I'll start here just because relevant. He rolled over to face her. She stood beside the car wearing a dress that looked like it would take a wearying number of steps to remove. She was also holding a small animal with a jeweled collar. It had no hair apart from a long silky tuft that grew from its head, the precise shade of blonde that Piper sported. What is that? Greenmantle asked, deeply suspecting it was a physical manifestation of his bad mood. So, Otho. He sat up, rental car, sighing noisily. A cat? A rodent? What species? It's a Chinese crested. A Chinese crested what? don't be a dick. And then like later, Piper is like, by the way, I'm going spelunking. Essentially, like she puts on like knee pads and she's like, I'm going in the caves. Like whether you like it or not, you don't have to come with me. And like I messaged you, I was like, this is the most like elegant YA in and out of a villain sex scene in the whole world. Because she was so saucily pleased with herself, he didn't have the heart to tell her that he would have rather paid someone else to go underground to look for the gray man's girlfriend. And the dress, it turned out, had a hidden zipper, and it came off very easily. Piper left the knee pads on. Afterwards, Green Mantle realized he had forgotten the dog was there, which seemed vaguely distasteful.
It is so fucking excellent.
It's funny.
So funny. And because there's a scene earlier where he talks about, like, Piper's moods, like what does it for her, and there's a scene earlier where he's getting like some crackers and cheese because apparently that's necessary. It's so, when I tell you this book has so many like little things sprinkled about it, it's great. But yeah, Piper ends up being the one who figures out the shit and is like, okay, we need to get into the cave. Similarly, our guys are like, okay, we have Jesse Dintley's cave. He won't let us into it. So our girl, not Piper, our girl, Blue is like, I'm going to go and redo his front lawn and garden for him and ask him to let us go into the cave. And he's so impressed by Blue's gumption, her strength, her like determination, because she does this just giant project in a day. And Noah is helping her. And a very strange thing happens where Noah gets possessed and starts singing and acting weird and doing weird stuff, and he starts taking energy.
And before this, even when like Blue was first just like talking to Jesse Ditley, being like, I can do this, I can help, like Jesse Ditley like looks at where like Noah is standing, and it seems like Blue's like, can you see him? But then he just like sort of like brushes it off and leaves. Yeah.
And so Noah starts freaking out, and he starts taking energy from Blue in a way that she can't stop him, because in a previous scene she'd been able to cut herself off, like build a mental shield around herself, and she can't do it. It's like it's too powerful. And all of a sudden, out busts Jesse Dintley, and he puts a mirror in between Blue and Noah, which cuts him off. He's no longer able to take it, and you realize that he could see Noah. And she was like, "Why didn't you say you could see him?" And he was like, "I didn't say I could see you." And they end up having like a very frank conversation about things
over some SpaghettiOs, I think.
Yes, which is all Jesse Dintley eats. Which, you know, hysterical, because that means he eats no vegetables, and vegetables is one of
he's always getting shit for not eating greens for being so short.
And regularly, yogurt and veggies are the only thing our girl Blue eats. But anyway, and he ends up agreeing to let them go into the cave.
And it should first I want to say it's so great that we get to see how Blue is like so competent in these moments when she's talking to like the Henrietta locals, because she just knows how to charm her way through a conversation with local people. And it's a very different kind of charm than the Aglenby boys' charm. And it's just very fun seeing her like put on that charm and just so easily move through these situations with these people.
It's really great. Is, because Gansey's charm would be detrimental.
It would flop. Yeah,
it would flop. It would go so badly, and he's so good in so many situations. But there's just, and the book does a really good job of having where specific scenes need a specific character to do the thing and like get the information, and it really makes it feel like everyone is an active participant in what's happening. Meanwhile, while all of this is happening, our boy Ronan is trying to bring his mom back to not just bring his, because they brought his mom to Cabeswater, yay, but he's trying to make it so that things that were pulled out of dreams can continue living after the dreamer is dead. And it is here that we were given the revelation that he brought his brother Matthew out from a dream when he was 3 years old. So when he dies, Matthew's going into a coma. And he's been actively working on this thing, and he has like a dream thing that he's brought through, and it's able to give a little bit of life, but he can't just quite make it work. And him and Adam kind of bond over this. This is also where we get some good scenes where like Ronan like looks at Adam, and Adam's pretending not to notice that Ronan is looking at him.
Can I read one of that? This one's from earlier, but like there's a great moment where, because like Adam has noticed that Ronan has noticed him, and Adam often feels very small around these boys, because you know he's like, I don't think people really understand why they're friends with me, like Gansey and Ronan. They're just they're huge personalities, they're big, and I'm just like this guy. And there's this great moment when we're in Adam's perspective where as they moved through the old barn, Adam felt Ronan's eyes glance off him and away, his disinterest practiced but incomplete. Adam wondered if anyone else noticed. Part of him wished they did, and immediately felt bad, because it was vanity, really. See, Adam Parrish is wantable, worthy of a crush, not just by anyone, someone like Ronan, who could want Gansey or anyone else and chose Adam for his hungry eyes. Maybe he was wrong. He could be wrong. I am unknowable. Like, it's such a sweet little, like, oh, Adam, my baby boy.
And also, you're like, oh, Ronan, my baby boy, you picked the broken one. I mean, they're all broken. All these guys. But, like, oh my god, it's so fucking cute, and the scene is sweet, and he realized that Ronan sleeps here a lot, like, there's, like, a blanket on the floor. It's a great scene.
The slow burn of their, like, the build-up of their relationship is so subtle and so just lovely to witness. It's just so sweet.
And it really is a slow burn, because it does take books to turn into anything. And this, like, if anyone was like, wow, we don't see a lot of slow burns in books anymore, Gansey and Blue and Ronan and Adam are slow burns.
Very much.
Like legit, actual slow burns. And I love it. I'm fucking here for it.
It's so good. It feels so earned when you finally get there too. It's just like, thank God. Like, oh, it's so sweet. It's so sweet.
It really is. But yeah, so then eventually the crew realizes that they need to go into the cave, and they can't. They're not going to go in. They can't get in through Jesse Dintley. What happens? I think they try go in.
So after Blue cleans up Jesse Dintley's yard, he's like, oh, okay, I made a deal. You cleaned up my yard. You guys can use the cave. Be careful, essentially. And
they go in, and they end up finding what looks like Glendower's grave. But when they open it, it is a woman face down in this like stone coffin thing, and she's alive, and she's talking, and she's singing, and she's weird as fuck. And she's singing the song that Noah was singing earlier, and then the raven that our boy Ronan dreamt up was singing as well. So she is part of whatever's been cursing the Dintleys. And they take.
Which she actively agrees to eventually. Yeah. Like she admits to, rather. Like she's like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Like she's not. She's a little baddie. She's a. What's her? Is it
Gwentlian?
Gwentlian. The pronunciation is
it has a T in it, but it's not spelt with a T. It's spelt Gwentlian, but there's a distinct T when the narrator says it. Gwentlian.
Gwentlian.
And she is the daughter of Glendower, and she committed a crime. She tried to stab his poet. And was buried down here as a punishment and as a fake grave to throw off people who were looking for him. And she's basically been alive for 600 years in this cave, just living. They end up taking her out. They bring her back to 300 Fox Way, and
Calla is like, "What are you? Why did you bring her here?
What the fuck?"
And Persephone has been working on this huge sweater for a long time, and she's like, oh, let's see if it fits.
And it does, because Gwentlian's very tall and Persephone's been sewing this sweater. And this kind of kicks off the final thing where Persephone goes missing, and Adam has a dream. He thinks it's a real thing, but it's a thing from his past while he's scrying. And he realizes, he's talking to Persephone, and she basically says, I'm peacing out now. And he's like, oh my God, is she dead? And so he calls, and they all start looking for Persephone and trying to figure out where she is. And she's died. She was looking for Mora. She was scrying
and she went too deep.
Yeah.
There's a really sad moment where Adam is talking to her and he thinks it's real, and he is and then she's gone, and he reaches out and he touches her stool, and it's cold. And
oh, it's so sad. And because she'd asked for him to get a soda, and then sends him in, and when he comes back, he's by himself, and it's just so sad. And when he goes to look for her, there's this point where he's scrying for her, and he hears there's a point where you hear her, Persephone, out of Adam's mouth calling for Mora. So she is actively searching for Mora. And then he's like, she's in the house. And they realize that she's been in the attic the whole time. and she's scryed by herself, and her scrying, your soul leaves your body, and she never came back. And it's just this terrible scene, and Mora's missing, Persephone's gone, and they're like, fuck it, we have to go into the cave. And Ganzi's like, I need to stop being a bitch ass boy, and we're going down into the thing, and we're just figuring this the fuck out. And Calla wants to go with them. Gwentleyan's gonna come, and then eventually they ask Calla, Blue asks Calla to stay. She's like, I can't lose. You're like the last of my three mothers. I can't lose you as well.
There's a couple short chapters that are really sweet where, like, because people have died up to this point, but, like, Blue, who has been, like, kind of, like, angry mourning her mother this whole, like, why would my mom just leave me? Like, there's a lot of really good, like, moments like that. And all of a sudden, like, death of a loved one being real and just being like, oh, we could actually, people I love could actually die. Like this, that being like just slapped in the face is like, oh, like hypothetically I knew this, but like the reality of it, like here, like Persephone is just gone now.
Yeah.
And it hits real hard.
And it does, especially because Persephone and Adam had begun developing this relationship. This book is really good at making sure that relationships, the characters connect with multiple different characters in ways that makes it really more impactful. Like Persephone becomes even better as a character because of her training Adam, and like she even talks about how she had thought maybe Adam would be the third, and would like could be a replacement for one of the three of them, but he's too different. And it's kind of this perfect moment because they bring Gwenllian home, and then Persephone goes missing, and Gwenllian is also a psychic, and so she becomes like the new third to anchor the triangle. But yeah, they go in, and they go down the thing, and they end up finding a like cave filled with skeletons, and they basically have to, there's like some sense of life to the skeletons, and they realize they need to wake them up. And so Ronan has his dream thing that he uses, and then Ganzi has this commanding, authoritative voice that he uses, and he's able to pull power from Blue and make his voice and his words actually have impact, and he basically tells all of the things to wake up. Gwenllian is out here just being chaotic. She is. As
she does.
She is, like, the quirky Manic Pixie Dream Girl, but in the most unhinged and not for anyone else's benefit ever character.
There's a really funny scene where right after they bring her back, when Calla is like, Ronan, Adam, go get her like supplies, and they're like at just like the corner store, like being like, what kind of supplies do we get for like a crazy person? Like, did she even brush her teeth back then? I don't know. Use a toothbrush. Yeah. Like,
it's so funny. I also love in book 4. There's a point where she's just eating a spoonful of mayonnaise, and like, is it conditioner? Yes. Is it mayonnaise? Blue doesn't know. It's so funny. Gwenllian's great. But they end up like getting on some stags, and like this animals end up taking them into a place that has this lake. I've got a cat sitting on me, so I have to sit like this because he's on my headphones, and if I try sit up straight, I can't actually sit up straight. You fucking asshole. See that? That's an asshole. So I'm just going to be crouched, Maria.
Just hunched.
Yeah. Her and Ronan end up getting to the lake. The others don't really get there. And she has a vision of Mora being dead, and Ronan kind of snaps her out of it and is like, no, it made me see my dad, but he's not here. I saw him die ages ago, so it's not real. Don't worry about it. But they realize, she kind of realizes she has to go in the water to kind of get to the next stage, and she goes through and she ends up in a different cavern. And she,
That's a criminal right there.
But anyway, and she gets there, she finds Mora and Artemis, her father, in a very low cavern before a red door. And Mora's like, don't touch me too much. I'll open the door. And so she's there to keep people from opening the red door, because the sleeper that they must not wake is behind there. They're trying hard not to. Artemis is barely like acknowledging, but then who should bust in but Piper, some lackeys, a lackey, and Green Mantle, and the Gray Man, because the Gray Man went in to kind of follow the others. They went in through the Ditley cave. Also, Piper shot Jessie Ditley, and I hate her. Like, I love her.
Oh my god.
But I hate her, because Jessie Ditley's like, I'm not letting you into that cave. It's cursed. And she kills him, and it's so sad. And they end up, like...
she's a great villain, but how dare you kill... He was such a sweet character.
He really was.
Oh my god.
And Green Mantle's like, no, we don't kill people. This is not how I do business. We don't do anything. We are always a step removed from anything that happens.
I got it here, actually. Jessie Ditley is still alive at this point. Stand down, Green Mantle tried. In the movies, this worked instantly. You pointed a gun at someone and they scurried out of your way. They didn't just stand there looking at it. Jessie Ditley said, "This is not your cave." Piper shot him 3 times fast, black spots appearing on his shirt and head. By the time they looked back at her, she had already pointed her gun back at the Grey Man. Green Mantle could not believe how unbelievably dead the giant man was. He was so very dead and punctured. There were holes in him. Green Mantle couldn't stop looking at the holes. They probably went all the way through him. "Piper," he said, "you just shot a man." No one else was doing anything seriously. "All this dick-slinging," Piper said to the Grey Man, saying, "Drag him into the cave." Like, it's just like, Piper is just like, all business, baby.
All business, all the time. She's not here for anyone's shit. So they come in from that way. Our girl came down from the other entrance. Mara basically says she came down from above. Like, she had to climb down into this cavern. So there's basically 3 entrances to get here. There ends up being a big tussle where the Piper's like, "You and your mom can leave. I'm keeping the Grey Man." She's like, "No, I won't let you keep the Grey Man." She ends up using her little pink switchblade that he gave her in book 2 to cut him free. Tussle happens. Her, Artemis, her mom, and the Grey Man are running out, and then the cave walls come down on the lackey and Piper in the cave. And as, like, everybody goes out, and they're all like, "Woo, we did it! We got out! Things are great, yo!" And then the book kind of ends with Piper being visited by Neve, who we have not seen this whole time.
Since book 1, yeah.
The whole time. And she's like, "Hi, Piper. I can help you. The 2 of us, we can go in and we can get the favor from the sleeper in there." And they open it, and it's like a weird little demon. And Neve's like, "Okay, let's do this together." And again, Piper, because she's all business, just wakes up the demon and is like, favor me. And the demon's like, "I shall favor you." And that's book 3, baby.
Yeah, I got one more Piper quote I kind of want to read, just from, like, earlier in the book. She's just so funny. Like, it's so fun to be in her little evil head. I don't know. And this might even be, like, Green Mantle's chapter, but, "We're not going to die down here," Piper said. "I have book club on Tuesday." "Book club? You've only been here 2 weeks and you're in a book club? What else am I supposed to do while you're out finding yourself? Just hang around the house getting fat, I suppose?" "Don't say talk to your little friends on the phone, because I'll put this pickaxe right through your eye." "What's the book?" Piper pointed the torch at the ceiling and the damp floor. Both the torch beam and Piper's lip curled in disgust. "I don't remember the title. Something about citrus. It's a literary memoir of a young woman coming of age on an orange plantation set on the backdrop of war and subversive class struggle, with possible religious undertones or something like that. Don't say I'd rather die." "I didn't say anything," Green Mantle replied, although he had indeed been considering I'd rather die as a candidate to further the conversation. He preferred spy thrillers that involved dashing men who were slightly over 30 in and out of high-technology shadows while driving fast cars and making important phone calls. He had up the EMF reader in his hands to see if he could vary the degrees of flashing going on, blah, blah, blah. It's just so charming.
And she's just such a, like, she's, every expectation you have of her when she's introduced is just, like, subverted, because, like, obviously she's read the book. She can't remember the title, but she's obviously read it. And she's just hysterical. She's so fun. And also, I love me a girl boss-ass bitch in pink out there getting shit done. Do I wish she didn't kill people and didn't wake up a fucking demon? Yes, but what can you do? Villain's gonna villain.
What can you do? She's just an excellent villain. She's just entertaining on the page. Like, by far my favorite, villain perspective in this whole series.
Absolutely. But yeah, book 3 is really interesting because we start developing Gansey and Blue's romance starts developing a bit more. They have nightly phone calls. They have a couple of experiences where they go out at like they do stuff unbeknownst to the others, and theirs starts like developing. Ronan and Adam begins like the seeds are planted in this book, and we have Gwenllian, we have the three ladies in Foxway now being a different set of three ladies. Adam has kind of come into his own. He's begun scrying. He does his own magic to communicate with Cabeswater, and it's just this really nice like development of the characters. Yeah, I really like this book. It works really well. I would say it has the least, compared to book 1 and book 2, its plot is a little bit more meandering.
Yeah, when I first read it, I think Blue Lily, Lily Blue was my least favorite one. Part of it because I'm a little claustrophobic, and all the cave scenes made me like, oh, baby, I want to get out of here. But I quite enjoyed it this time, and especially with all of the little relationship pieces kind of falling into place. It's so satisfying.
And as a reader, because I know how the story's going to go, because initially I was like, okay, what happens with the plot? Like, how are we furthering finding Glendower? Because this book is like the real stall. Like, there's no real steps made in that direction. We find Gwenllian, and there's this other sleeper, but like we're nowhere closer to finding where Glendower is, kind of thing. But knowing that that's not the purpose of the series, you're able to pick up and appreciate the little moments between the characters a lot more. Where on the first read through, I was more like, I started and I think in the video for book 1, I was like, I can't wait to see what happens with and like.
It's not the point.
It just ain't it.
And we should also say Henry is sprinkled in a little bit in this book. We get a tiny little taste of Henry, who we'll talk about more in the next one. I love Henry. I wish he was sprinkled in a little bit earlier. He's a great character, but in this one, he's just sort of teased at us. He kind of calls out the window when Gansey and Blue are on one of their secret little drives in the middle of the night, and Blue is immediately annoyed because she hates Aglionby boys, like on like just principle, essentially. And she's like, "Oh, like Gansey, I can't believe you hang out like with these like stupid people." And he's like, "Henry's actually not that bad." And she's like, "I don't like you, and I'm mad at you." And they have a stupid fight. Another one of the lovely fights where they're both arguing about different things.
Yep,
like,
completely. They're having a completely different situation.
But yeah, we're making pretty good time.
We're doing pretty good. So the last book, as I mentioned before, when I kind of talked about how I think about these books, this is the demon book. Shit's rough. We get the scene kind of fully where Piper wakes up the demon. We go to 300 Foxway, where Mora, Calla, and all the women in the house, and they've kind of roped Gwenllian as well, are trying to do a mass reading to see like what's up, because they know Blue is in love with what's his face. They know Gansey's going to die. They don't realize a demon is like a huge problem, but they're trying to figure out like what they can learn about Gansey, his death, if they can like keep that from happening. And the scene, like, there's a stage where they're like, oh, is she going to leave? Yes. And you don't know who any of the she's they're talking about there are, but they're different. Is she going to come back?
I think there's 3 different she's that they mention.
And they do this big scene. I'm trying to think of what, like, the most important scenes to go over. You learn that Cabeswater is protecting Adam in very specific ways. There's a scene where he should have been squashed by a bunch of tiles, and they completely miss him, and Cabeswater protected him. And this demon that has been released is beginning to fuck shit up. There's a scene where we go, they go to visit Aurora Lynch. Ronan accidentally dreams his dream companion into life. There's this like girl that has been in his dreams.
Oh, they call her the orphan girl.
Yeah, orphan girl.
She's got hooves.
And he brings her back, and they're like, oh shit, we have to take her to Cabeswater and hide her with your mother. And they go in, and they realize that something is not at this scene, but they'll do it later. But when they go in now, everything's kind of cool, everything's chill. They have a nice time with Aurora. There's a note that Aurora loves everyone in the way that they need to be loved. Like she was kind of created to love. and so that's kind of how she acts. And everything is good, but then slowly things start going bad. Stuff is weird. They end up having to go back into Cave's water for something, and the orphan girl is terrified. Aurora shows them there is a tree that is dying and oozing black sap. Ronan starts having really weird nightmare dreams that are really terrible. Adam,
they're like this is horrifying. It's
this book breaks into the horror as a genre. There are multiple scenes that are just. There's the scene where Matthew, Ronan has this dream that that Declan puts a mask onto Matthew's face.
Oh, God,
and then he takes it off. And you expect it, because previously in a different book, Adam had a mask put on his face, and when it was taken off, it took his skin with it. And you think it's going to be that, but it ends up just being like abstract lines and like no face. And it's terrifying. This book, here there be horrors.
And we got it in Scorpio Races too. This woman knows how to write a creepy scene. It's very effective.
Atmosphere.
Oh my God.
Atmosphere works, and you're immediately just terrified by this demon. And it's like an 11-inch wasp. That's it. It's not like this big thing. It's just this 11-inch wasp that just has this dread around it. And it basically is an unmaker, and its goal is to unmake all of the dream things and the dreamer. And it's just going to kind of eat away. So it's eating Cave's water kind of tree by tree. As it's doing it. It's brought Piper back to life. She looks good. She looks great. Neve is kind of like, I'm not loving this dynamic anymore.
Well, we should also mention Blue's dad is back at 300 Fox Way now. He's very shy. He's basically locked himself in the pantry.
Yes, and he won't come out. He has barely spoken to anyone, and Maura's like, I don't know what happened to you, dude. This is not what you were like when we saw you before. Gwentleyan hates Artemis, partially because Artemis is one of the people that locked her up in the cave. He was her father's magician, and part of the people that decided to lock her up in the tomb that was the fake tomb of Glendower. And Adam starts having weird things happen where his one hand kind of drums on his dashboard, kind of out of his control, and then his one eye starts roaming around.
And you quickly realize him being the eyes and hands of Cave's water, it's fucking with his eyes and hands.
Because it's infecting Cave's water, thus infecting him, and it takes control of his eye, and then this thing happens. So because he's in a bathroom, and he's not just in a bathroom, he's in the bathroom that's part of the theater department, so there's the shadows and everything. This is an excellent fucking scene.
It's such a good scene.
And there's are you looking for it?
I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Let me know if you get to it. But there's this point where a bathroom stall opens and blackness starts pouring out, and he knows that if he touches the blackness, it will unmake him, and he's calling for Cave's water. Because again, earlier, Cave's water saved him in 2 seconds. He didn't even have to ask, and now he's calling and calling and calling to Cave's water, and then finally it reaches to him, and it was water, you need water. So he opens the tap and plugs the sink, and the water is able to cast away the darkness. And then after it deals with everything, and he splashes the water in his eye, and it releases his eye from whatever's happening, and he realizes that the reason it took Cave's water so long to come to him was Cave's water was also being attacked. So there's just a sense that the demon, it's coming for everyone.
I think I found it. I'll start reading it if I. The bathroom was empty. Of course it was empty. Of course it was empty. Of course it was empty. 2 old stalls made of green painted plywood, nowhere near up to proper accessibility codes, nowhere near up to proper hygiene codes. A urinal, a sink with a yellow ring around the drain, a mirror. Adam stepped up in front of the glass, his hand over his eye, looking at his gaunt face. His nearly colorless eyebrow was pinched with worry. Lowering his hand, he looked at again at himself. He saw no pinkness around his left eye. It didn't seem to be watering. He squinted. Was it slightly wall-eyed? Blah, blah, blah. He blinked. No, it was fine. It was a trick of the chilly green light. He leaned in closer to see if there was any redness in the corner. It was wall-eyed. It's just a really long scene, but it just keeps going, and it's so creepy.
And it's so, and number one, hand stuff and eye stuff, immediately creepy.
It's immediately.
Heckin' off-putting as all get out. And the other thing so Ronan can't go into dreams and take stuff out more. He's been trying. Um, oh, Noah gets to. How does Noah get to? Oh, the Gray Man and how does this scene happen?
Which scene?
Oh, Mora is trying to find stuff out, and her and her and the Gray Man, like she's trying to like have visions and stuff, and she ends up leading him to Green Mantle's house. Green Mantle's gone. He fucked off. He's back to Boston. He got out of that cave and was like, oh well, my wife's crazy. What can you do? And so Mora ends up leading her and the Gray Man to Green Mantle's house that they were renting. And they go in, and there's like this eerie sense of stuff happening. They find a scrying bowl, and on the wall, like in the one bathroom, there's a mirror that has Piper written backwards 3 times in bright pink lipstick, and then twitching on the floor in a weird, like almost bug-like movements. They find Noah, the dead boy, and they end up taking him back to 300 Foxway, and they kind of snap him out of, like, he was basically possessed by something, and they bring him there, and they're like, do you want to just go on? Like, we can help you move on if you'd like, because he's decayed. Like, he's decaying so much, it's rough to look at. And he's like, no. He's like, I need to stay and you get the sense there's something specific that Noe's holding out for,
but he's kind of like breaking down, and he can't quite put it to words. It's so tragic. Like we were saying earlier, he's such like any other writer with a ghost character like this, like I'd be like, okay, the ghost is dying. Yep. Okay. Yep. But like you love him. And there's a really sweet moment earlier, or it's sweet and strange at the same time, where Noah's like parents or his like older sister are like talking to the school, and they're making a donation, and they're talking about Noah. And like Gansey and the boys are like, that doesn't sound like the Noah we know. And it's really weird, like hearing them talk about this person that they don't quite know, and this person that they love, but also is clearly very separate from this. It's fascinating.
Yes, and it's a much more unique take on dealing with a dead ghost person than just he would be exactly the same as he was in life. It just feels real. Like you can't go through death and be unchanged. Gwenllian has a dream where the demon eats a bunch of trees, one of which is the oldest tree that was in that section of Cave's water, and she was almost like a mother tree, and certain trees have the ability to fight against the demon for longer, and she kind of tries to shout her knowledge to the other trees, but the other trees see her die and think, if she went, we will go too. And then our girl Gwenllian wakes up and starts screaming like, mother, my mother has been killed. And she goes to find Artemis, and she's like, fuck you, you asshole. Like, we need to deal with this. And basically, you get the idea that something unites her and Artemis and trees. And Artemis knows more than he's said, and he's not actually, like, saying shit. And Gwenllian's really fucking pissed. And she kind of chases him into a tree, and there's this one big beech tree in the yard that Blue has loved her whole life.
Blue talks about it throughout the whole series. She loves it. She, even like when she was a little girl, she wrote a letter to her hypothetical father who she didn't know anything about, and kind of stuck it in the roots, and then the roots slowly grew over it. And she was like, I would have kind of liked to read it again because I don't remember what I wrote, but it's gone, like it's in the tree now. Yeah.
And he yeets himself into the tree. Like he just
straight up zoop.
And Gwenllian's like, fuck you asshole, you can't hide. And she basically says, everyone else is going to die. The demon's not going to come get him here, but all the rest of them will die, and he will just keep living. And she actually has a great line with how she says it, because again, a lot of the time Gwenllian is hard to understand what she's saying, but the way she's
singing, she's like dancing around.
The way she articulates her disgust for him and his cowardice, and how all the rest of the tree, whatever thing they are that they have in them, are going to die, but he is yet again going to survive. Everyone else will die, and yet again, this asshole is going to survive. Super awesome. But she now knows there's a demon. Like she has the dream of the demon. She kind of tells everyone. They end up saying, like, okay, the thing was released. They need to deal with this. How are they going to deal with this demon? In between all of this, Gansey one day goes into the basement of one of the buildings with Henry
Or
Chang.
rather, his buddy Henry Chang is like, "Hey, buddy, you want to come? Got something to show you." It's a weird. The scene shouldn't work. It feels so strange.
The first time I read it, it really didn't. I did not like, in my first reading of this, I did not like Henry Chang. I did not like this scene. It, through a reread, having the knowledge of how it's all going to come together, it works much, much better. But there's also a part of me where you could kind of remove, like, and it doesn't, because there are things that wouldn't happen if you removed this scene, but it just feels so out of left field.
It does, and I really wish, like the first time I read it, I was actively kind of like stubbornly like against Henry. I was like, why are you giving me a new character and trying to like force him into this group now in the last book? This is weird. And even the first time I read it, when I closed the last book, I was like, dang, I kind of do like Henry. I wish we had more of him like beforehand. So she does a good job of introducing him, but it's just a little clunky and a little too late. And the scene it's fascinating. It's weird. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
It's an excellent scene, especially in retrospect, and knowing so one of the things I haven't mentioned is there is a bunch of purchasers of weird shit that are coming to Henrietta because Piper her dad is part of a group of triplets who are basically like Green Mantle. They collect weird shit, and basically there's all these different international buyers that collect weird shit, and Piper has called her dad and was like, hey, let everyone know I have the next big thing. I'm going to be selling it. Schedule a time. And a Korean buyer calls the Gray Man and says, hey, I know you don't work for Green Mantle anymore and you've made a home in Henrietta. I'm just giving you a professional courtesy. I'm letting you know that there's a big sale happening and people are coming. And the Gray Man's like, why would you, no, it's Declan. She calls Declan and lets him know. And because she bought from Declan and she previously bought from Neil Lynch, the magical items. And she's, I think her name was Seonduk.
Yeah, I think so. I was listening to it really fast, so the pronunciation doesn't quite.
And she basically, you get the sense that she knows shit's gonna go down, and she's like, I'm just letting you know. Declan's like, I need to get Matthew and Ronan, and I need to get them the fuck out of here. And this is the scene where Declan and Ronan finally have like a heart-to-heart about shit, and they kind of patch up their relationship and finally talking through all of this.
Yeah, it's a good scene. And there's a couple. Sorry, I'm like awkwardly like putting. I wish I had ebooks for these ones because the bookmark situation that I have in here is bad. But there's one I want to read. Yeah, this one in particular about Matthew, especially this is the youngest Lynch brother who Ronan dreamed. Matthew was a loud, joyful kid, but his room was orderly and spare. Ronan used to think that this was because Matthew kept all his clutter inside his curly-haired head, but now he suspected it was because Ronan had not had enough imagination to dream a fully formed human. 3-year-old Ronan just wanted a brother whose love was complete and uncomplicated. 3-year-old Ronan had dreamt Matthew, the opposite of Declan in every way. Was he human? Dream Adam / Declan didn't seem to think so, but Dream Adam / Declan was also clearly a liar. It's just really sweet the way like Ronan was like, I dreamed a brother when I was 3 years old. Like,
and there's also a point where he knows that Declan knows Matthew is a dream, and he thinks Declan loves Matthew less because of it. There's this distinct point where you get the vibe that he thinks, and you're like, no, Declan loves the shit out of Matthew, and you really like feel it. And they have this heart to heart, and Ronan's like, he's like, come on, let's leave. All of these people are coming. They're coming here for whatever this is, but they're gonna stay for you. Like, we have to go. And Ronan's like, no, this is my home. I have to stay. And they basically agree that he'll take Matthew. And they have this big joyous farewell party, and like Ronan calls the rest of the gang for like the first time ever. And like, because Ronan doesn't use cell phones, so when he called, everybody like ran, and they end up having this really like beautiful sad party. Ronan's kind of like joyful, like you can tell he's patched up this relationship with Declan in a way where it's like it's not perfect, but it is like they can talk and be in a room together without fisticuffs. This is also when Ronan shoots his shot and kisses our boy Adam.
That's so sweet.
so
like Adam, like kind of like wanders upstairs into Ronan's room. It's like he's looking at all like the little things, and it's just such a sweet, sweet little kiss. And like Adam is like, I think I was just Ronan's first kiss, and it's just like he's a little confused. And I love that. I also really appreciate that. Like Adam is very clearly bisexual. Like it's not like there's no it's not like he was just confused or anything. Like he's still attracted to women and stuff, but he's like I could be into this too.
And it's such a cute scene. And then what's the next big plot point after this?
Well, so when Henry and Gansey are slowly becoming friends, right? Like Henry is described as he's a Chinese Korean student, but like he's not good with words, not because of like any ESL reasons, just because he's very in his own head about things and he has a hard time. He's very witty when he does speak, and like kind like in an awkward, very specific kind of high schooler kind of way. But he's really stuck in his own head, and he's been trying to kind of be friends with Gansey for a long time. And he has this little guy called the Robo Bee, who his mom took out of a dream, or it's a dream thing, essentially.
It was Neil. It's one of Neil Lynch's dreams that his mother bought. You learn that Henry is Seon-duk's son, and when he was in the scene where Gansey and him go into that basement, you learn that he had been kidnapped as a ransom, specifically because he had RoboBee, which they Neil Lynch was such an ass. He got RoboBee out of a dream, and it was this really cool technology, and he showed it to Greenmantle, the Lemonniers, which are this other like exotic magic item cartel, and Seon-duk, and he ended up selling the two to her. And then the Lemonniers kidnapped her son, trying to get it out of him and like use him to get the thing out, and she ended up he ended up in a hole for like 5 days, and it like really scarred him. And
his mom would like was not relenting. Like his kidnappers would like give him the phone and like make him kind of like beg to his mom, I think, essentially like let me out, they're like gonna hurt me or something. But like he was down in that hole, like claustrophobic, traumatized down there, and Gansey is like, why are you telling me this, man? Like we're crawling down into this hole. And Gansey doesn't know about RoboBee kind of yet, and then all of a sudden like Henry's like, do you trust me? And Gansey's like, yeah. And like he feels like little feet like crawling on his face, and Gansey's like panic. And I wish I remembered the scene a little bit better.
Yeah, but, so he basically says, because Gansey's like, I admire that you're able to like be in this hole after that. And he's like, well, you have to learn that if you cannot be unafraid, you have to learn to be afraid, and you have to learn to be afraid of the thing, but also find it beautiful. And he basically brings Gansey here to have Gansey face this fear. And then like Gansey freaks out, and he basically coaches Gansey through it. And he's like, breathe. At some point you have to breathe. Gansey breathes. He kind of relaxes, and then he shows them that it's RoboBee, and he says, like, yeah, this is a heckin' magical item. Neil Lynch dreamed it up. Like, I'm basically connected to this whole other side of what's happening, and my mother told me, like, shit's gonna be sold here. And so it's this weird, as a scene, it hits in a really weird place plot-wise, because it's not actively doing anything to further the plot, but it is doing something for Gansey as a character and building up who Henry is as a character, and showing that both of these boys have had a traumatic thing that hangs over them that they have to deal with. And basically, Henry's basically said, I've been dealing with the thing, where, as I mentioned before, Gansey has not. Like, he's actively just, gotten by avoiding thinking about how he died, and all of that. And he doesn't tell everyone. Well, no, he does. He tells everyone about what happened with Henry Chang. Noah ends up going berserk at one point and tries to claw Blue's eye out.
Oh yeah, that does in fact happen. Both of us were reading this really fast, you guys.
Really fast. I read this book today, and I just crammed it. And she ends up being okay. And in the moment where her eye is getting clawed out, her hands were red, and she looked like that tapestry that Mallory had mentioned previously. And basically, we're coming down to the final thing of it, where they're like, we need to find. They figure out that the demon is what's drawing everyone here, and that someone's going to try steal it. They also learn that the demon is actively unmaking dream things. Ronan realizes that it's unmaking all of his dreams, which means it's going to come for all of his shit. He tries to go into a dream to do something, and he sees his mother dead, and so he's actively traumatized. Blue has her eye thing, but she's okay. And she's okay. They're basically like, okay, how do we deal with this? And so they end up having a conversation with her father, Artemis, where she kind of gets him to come out of the tree. And he basically says, I'm part of the Tiralinte, which are we're creatures that live in trees. We can take human form. We can also take tree form. We are an ancient thing, and we were, when Wales was taken by war, only certain trees can be Tiralinte trees. And he also talks that there are certain places and certain types of land and spaces that are sacred, and if blood is spilled too much on them, it can create demons. And they were like, great, how do we kill it? And they were like, you have to sacrifice a willing life on the ley line to counteract the unwilling sacrifice that the demon is doing. And they're like, oh shit. And you also learn at the beginning of this book that Gansey knows he's supposed to die. Like, he's figured out that he heard himself on that recording, and he knows that
he's pieced it together. Yeah. He's a smart boy.
And he's like, okay, sacrifice. And they're like, no, you can't sacrifice yourself. And then Adam's like, what if we do sacrifice him on Cabe's water, and then we can just put his body back into, Ronan, you can dream something that'll put his body back in, so we can do the sacrifice, and then we can just shove him back in his body. And everybody's like, okay, let's do this. So they try to go to Cabe's water. And he goes by himself. He goes rogue. He takes his car out because he's going to go sacrifice himself. He gets stranded on the side of the road, and Henry Chang finds him. They take Henry Chang's car, and they get led. He's like, can you make RoboBee lead us to Glendower? And you're like, that's how they find. It is the funniest thing. RoboBee can do anything because he's a dream creature, and if you ask him to do something, he'll just do it. And he's like, can you just ask him to find Glendower? And RoboBee basically leads them to a fucking... The house where Gansey died. It is...
Do you mind? There are a couple of things that happened before this that I kind of want to get to before we hit the finale. One is the toga party.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the toga party.
So Blue gets expelled from school for just being a little sassy, and Gansey gets invited to a toga party by Henry Chang and the... a lot of sort of the Vancouver gang, a lot of East Asian kids at this school who don't really quite fit in with the polished Congress white people. Yes, wasps. Hey.
Funny thing to be allergic to.
Hey. That's really funny. I never thought of that.
And neither did I until this moment.
They had sex at this party, right? I did
No.
Are you sure? Are you
100%.
Okay.
They just,
I read it a couple times.
So let's say, I don't know if they did or not, but the vibe I took is they just were physically close to each other and touchy, because it's the first time they have been hiding their relationship from everyone. So, and they have had snatched moments together where they could be vaguely intimate. But at this party, Henry Chang is like, "Oh, hey, cool, your girlfriend," and they realize that they can be affectionate in public. So there's points where she has her arm around his waist, she puts her chin on his shoulder. He like, when they're sitting, hooks his ankle around her ankle, and so it's the first time that they can have any amount of PDA. And there's this one point where they meet each other on the stairs, and they like hug, where like her head is like pressed into his neck, and there's this point where they almost kiss, and he talks about how close her face is, and she talks and it talks about Blue and how her stomach is pressed against his stomach. And so like, it's definitely intimate, but I didn't take it as the sex scenes.
Yeah, I think it could be.
I think
it could be read as that. Here, I'm gonna read just the last bit.
Go.
It was this: laughing senselessly into each other's skin, playing until it was abruptly no longer play, and Gansey stopped himself with his mouth perilously close to hers, and Blue stopped herself with her belly pressed close to his. It was this: Gansey saying, "I like you an awful lot, Blue Sergeant." It was this: Blue's smile, crooked, wry, ridiculous, flustered. There was a lot of happiness tucked in the corner of that smile, and even though her face was several inches from Gansey, some of it spilled out and got on him. She put her finger on his cheek, where he knew his own smile was dimpling in it, and they took each other's hands, and they climbed back up together. It was this moment, and no other moment. And for the first time that Gansey could remember, he knew what it felt like to be present in his own life. It could be interpreted.
Now, the one reason I'll say it won't is because if you go a little back farther, they're on a staircase. She's coming up the staircase. He's coming down the staircase. They're literally
true, but also they got changed together in a bedroom upstairs.
They did.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
We
but
don't
there
know.
is room.
Stvietar, please weigh in. Please let those of you in the comments who have read this, did they fuck? Vote. Hashtag yes, hashtag no, hashtag maybe. Maybe. Let us know where you fall on this grand debate.
It doesn't really seem like it later. It doesn't seem like it, but could be. And God, there was something else I was gonna say. What was it? There's a really funny moment where because Blue has decided she actually kind of likes Henry at this point, and he's
her switch.
She's surprisingly charmed by him. Yeah,
to liking him is beautiful.
It's so sweet. Like, I gotta find it. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
You are absolutely
Vamp.
fine. Vamp. How many cats do I have in the room with me? I think definitely one. I know because he's on a pile of sweaters. So I think I have another one. I don't know. We'll see. I think we're doing pretty good for trying to get 4 books in. We're
doing great.
We're coming up to 3 hours. I think we'll probably around 3 hours 15 minutes we'll be done. Will's gonna be like, fucking hell, I have to edit this.
You know what? It was 4 books.
I think we're doing pretty damn great.
If I can't find it soon, I will just summarize it. But I know it's in here.
No, you are all good. But just to put this in place, this happens before Blue gets her eye gouged out, and before Gansey and Henry go down into the basement. So it's this kind of like before scene, and it's great because it's just a fun night. And actually, this is the night when Blue gets her eye gouged out, and then because it's a 6/21 night. So Adam and Ronan have some horrific things happen. So this is the night that it's just there's this throughout the whole book. There's this thing about 6/21 as a time that keeps flashing, and this night is going to be kind of what sets it off, and shitty things are going to happen that kind of set the rest of the book kind of flowing into the climax. So Ronan is going to have that dream where he's in Caves Water with Adam, and they're getting attacked and his mother's dead, and then Blue gets attacked by Noah at 6/21, and then something else happens somewhere else on the ley line. Oh yeah, Neve Neve tries to escape. Like, she's trying to, she finally decides, I don't want to be part of killing all of this. I am going to run out and I'm going to try escape. And then she ends up not being able to outrun the demon, and she finds a pool that she can scry into, and she shouts into the scrying bowl that there's a demon and it's destroying the forest and it's going to eat everything. And Gwentlyn is the one who intercepts that message. So they end up calling to let everyone know that this is what they found. Did you find it?
I did, finally. And I just, the reason why I was searching so hard is I feel like we're doing a bad job. Henry is a really charming character, and even though like he should have been introduced earlier, he is a well sketched little guy. And I just wanted to read this scene where Blue is outside of her school, and Henry pulls up in his car outside of Blue's school. And Blue is like, oh no, everyone here knows I don't talk to Aglenby boys. That's my whole image. This is my whole thing. They're all going to know I'm a faker. So Henry says, they're talking, blah, blah, blah. Blue says, I can't get in this car. Do you see what's happening behind me? I don't even want to look. Like my rule, stay away from Aglenby boys because they're bastards. Henry said, how about you give me the finger and shout at me now and withdraw your principles? He smiled winningly and held up 3 fingers. He counted to 2 with devil horns. This is incredibly unnecessary, Blue told him, but she could feel herself smiling. Life's to show, he replied. He counted on 1 with his middle finger, and then his face melted into exaggerated shock. Blue shouted, drop dead, you bastard. Fine, Henry screamed back, with slightly more hysteria than the role required. He attempted to squeal out of the lot, stopping to take off the parking brake, and then limped out more sedately. It's just a sweet little moment where like Henry's like, I see that I'm ruining your vibe here, so let's play it up.
Yeah,
and then immediately Gansey pulls up, and Blue's like, I'm getting in your car.
It's so, because he's like, we got a message, we have to go. And so this is before they go to the Ronan goodbye to Matthew party. So it's just such a cute scene, and honestly Henry does work, especially with going back, like when they try to go find Glendower. Like I mentioned, Henry's the one who finds Gansey. And then the rest of them realize Gansey's fucked off, and so Ronan has to dream up a little Gansey tracker, and they end up using it to find Gansey, because Gansey and, like I said, they were at the house that Gansey got stung at ages ago, and they find underneath the basement there's a collapsed area that leads somewhere else, and they were like, oh my god, it was here the whole time. Like a little bit of a full circle moment. And he's like, Gansey's like, I'm gonna go down by myself, you stay up here. He goes down, he starts like kind of panicking at one point, and then everyone's in there, like Blue, Ronan, Adam, and Henry came in because they were like, motherfucker, why did you do this by yourself? Like, of course we have to. And
Gansey sincerely, like, surprised almost that everyone came for him. He was like in touch, and like, Gansey, come on, man.
Of course they would do this. Like, you did this exactly when Adam went off on his own. Everyone showed up because nobody's going off on their own to do heroic shit. And they end up finding Glendower's grave. But then when Gansey goes to wake him up and they remove his helmet, he's like dead. He's not like, so we know that people from 600 years ago were able to survive, but he's just dead. Like
he's just bones.
Yeah,
dusty bones.
Something happened where whatever thing that was supposed to keep him alive and sleeping didn't actually work. And they think Artemis might have fucked something up, and that's part of like his guilt. He's just bones. So there's no help coming from Glendower. There's no any of that's gonna like happen. And so they were like, oh shit, we can't, because their plan was to use Glendower's favor to get rid of to ask him to get rid of the demon, so nobody had to be sacrificed. And they're like, oh shit, that's not gonna work. We're gonna have to. And Gansey's like, okay, I'm gonna.
And there's just like this like despair over Gansey. He's like, all of this for nothing. And it felt like such the right big build up to a moment. Like he's like, this is going to be it. This is what I've been searching for. And then it just sort of fizzles out, and you can just feel like the depression kind of settle on him. He's like, oh, okay. That's nothing.
Yep. And they end up kind of trying to drive back, or I think this is the point where they're trying to get to Cave's water so he can sacrifice himself, but they can put him back in his body. And Ronan starts dying. Like, Ronan gets attacked.
First, Adam loses his shit. Adam starts attacking Ronan.
Yeah, Adam attacks Ronan.
Because the demon fully controls his hands, and his hands are like just clawing. It's a nasty scene.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch because Adam's like, hit me.
Yeah,
stop
he's
me.
like, you guys have to stop me. Like, please do not. And they end up like tying him up, getting him
and then he also says, you have to blindfold me too. My eyes will also lie.
We'll get you. And then Ronan starts like convulsing. The dream, orphan girl.
And we get this from Adam's perspective, so because he's blindfolded, so we hear it. We hear Adam listening to Ronan dying, and he doesn't realize it right away.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
Declan is calling, and they realize all at once that his dreams are being attacked because Declan is with Matthew. So as Ronan's being attacked, and the orphan girl is having, and also Chainsaw, the Raven, is being affected, that Declan is calling because something's also happening to Matthew, and like the guy, like the demon's finally eating the dreamer in his dreams. Like, he's gotten far enough, and then Ganzi's like, it has to be now. I have to do it now. There's no time. And Blue's like, we're not at Cave's water. If we can't resurrect you if we're not at Cave's water. And he's like, oh, well. And so he basically says, now's it, Blue. You got to kiss me. So Blue kisses him. He goes down because they are on the ley line. He goes down. Everything kind of stops. Like, Ronan's okay. But they're like, holy shit. What do we do? And they're all kind of like being... And
Henry, who's new to this, is like, you guys are magicians.
Yeah, because they're all being snapped potatoes, and they're like, you're the king's magicians, use your magic. And they're like, that's not how that works. And they were like, you got to do something. And so they're like, let's ask Cave's water to sacrifice itself for...
First, this is when we get that Noah chapter.
This is incredible. So as Ganzi dies, and then we get a chapter from Noah, and one of the refrains that has been happening throughout the entire series is, depending on where you start, the story is about insert name. And we've been getting tiny, and especially towards this end and this climax, we've been getting a lot of different characters you wouldn't expect this to be about. We've been getting Seonduk, Henry's mom gets a little one of these, and then we get, depending on where you start, this story is about Noah Cherney. And basically Noah, in his, like, as Ganzi's dying, in his last moments, they realize Glendower's not alive, he never was. And Noah, in that moment, like, has saved himself, and he realizes time for him is a circle, and he can kind of go through it, and he uses the last of his afterlife to go in that space, because where they are is the place where Ganzi died, and he uses that to go back to the moment that Ganzi died and sacrifice himself to save Ganzi. And he tells him the words he heard, you will be saved because of Owen Glendower. You will live because when you're not supposed to, because somebody died when they weren't supposed to. And that voice the whole time has been Noah. And it just fucking takes you out. Like, if I had not been absolutely ramming this thing down my eyeballs at like a bajillion speed, I would have, because it's just like he was saving himself to do, and he does the thing, and then Noah's gone. And it's just
it's so sweet. And like, just knowing that Noah's been there, he knows how much, Ganzi has been obsessed with Glendower, and that he's known this phrase as long, even if he didn't say it the first time, he's here this time saying it. It's so beautiful. And like, it hurts.
It's just crazy because no one knows that unless he says this thing, none of this, like, he has to. It's kind of like that moment where you look at it and you're like, okay, if no one's going to do it, I have to do, and it's so good. But yeah, they end up begging Cave's water, and Cave's water's like, I can't do that. I have to, like,
I can't make a whole person. I don't know if I can.
And so, because he creates stuff, and so he doesn't, like, it's not like, he's like, I could create a new Gansey, but they want that. And I say he, but the Cabe's Water.
Because this is from Cabe's Water's perspective, almost. It's
and it
fascinating.
literally does depending on where you start the story is about this place, and it's Cabe's Water. And something we learned earlier is that Ronan dreamed Cabe's Water into being, but Cabe's Water is a thing that defies specifically Ronan. He gave shape to it. It is a thing that existed before but was in an ephemeral other state, and Ronan gave it form, gave it kind of atmosphere, but Cabe's Water as a place, as an entity, has existed long before and will exist long after. It will just take many forms. And so Cabe's Water basically kind of crafts itself a body to sacrifice.
And it's really sweet because it's kind of like it's thinking about like how it's seen all of these kids and all it's learned about the humans who've kind of explored within it and stuff. And it's like, okay, I can take these little parts and
it's like, it's literally, he takes the little bits of all of them to amass a thing for it.
And like, I think this is what a person is because these people have loved it so much and have been little people inside of it, like exploring it. And it's real sweet.
And it sacrifices itself, this thing it has made, and then Gansey is alive, and then the book ends with a very sweet scene where it's after graduation. There's two scenes. Also, prior to this, Adam kissed Ronan back, and so they're basically an item. This was a bit ago.
Very cute, both kisses.
Super cute. Adam has a scene where he goes back to visit his parents. There's this whole thing where he took his parents to court, basically to say, like, can I have a relationship with them? And it's this huge moment of growth for him to be able to look back and say, like, it was terrible. We're never going to have that relationship, but could we have a relationship? And he basically walks away where his mom's like, I'd like to hear about you. And it's a nice scene for him. And
just call sometimes, essentially. Yeah.
I just want to know what's happening. And then we have Blue getting her graduation present from Ronan, and it is a copy of the Camaro he dreamed previously that has no engine. It runs, but it has no engine, so it's the perfect eco-friendly car, which she loves. And it's just this super cute scene of them all being like happy.
And Gansey and Henry and Blue are all going to go on like a little road trip together, like just to sort of explore. It's real sweet.
It's real sweet. So obviously Gansey's alive. The only one who didn't make it to the end of the book was Noah, but again, he's been dead the whole time.
Been dead the whole time, and it was a gorgeous little chapter we got from him. There are a couple of quotes that we kind of missed along the way that I want. One, like, there's two real short ones from Piper that I just think are hilarious.
Piper is so good.
She's so funny. There's one where she's just looking at this large wasp demon that she has. And she's like, oh, okay, so you serve me now. And she says, are you harmful to the environment? Piper had always been attentive to her carbon footprint. It seemed pointless to have spent 2 decades recycling if she was going to destroy an entire ecosystem. Like, just that sentence alone, I'm just like, tells you so much about Piper as a person.
And the monster basically says, I'm going to eat everything with or without you.
I am a natural product of the environment, but yeah, I'm gonna.
and then after, like a little while later, it says, I will eat everything in time. And she's like, well, then might as well make hay while the sun shines. And like, it's just such a funny, because she was like, I care about the environment. And then she hears that this thing that she woke up is going to destroy it anyway. And she's like, might as well make some money off of it.
And then like just not a page later, like this is when Nev is still alive and she's kind of talking to Nev, and Piper's like, yeah, I'm gonna like use this to make me like famous or whatever. And Piper's like, but Nev looked less enthusiastic about this than Piper had hoped, but she at least didn't try to run away again. This was positive. Piper didn't really want to be alone with a demon, not because she was scared, but because she felt more energized with an audience. She'd taken an online quiz that just said she was some sort of special extrovert, and she was likely to be this way for the rest of her life. Sentences like that crack me up.
She really is just an incredible character. She's so funny.
Last Piper. They'll be moved to love if they see my face. Demon, connect my father on that thing. Let it be thus or whatever. It was thus or whatever.
When I tell you, Stvietar is just so funny. Like, her sentences, like the way she will have a sentence and then she'll subvert the sentence like 2 sentences later. She's great. This is an awesome series. I would like to read the next 3. The
offshoot of the Dream Thieves. Should we do that first, or should we do Shiver first?
I think we should do Shiver first, because I think Shiver will do well for the channel.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going to like it based on my experience. I'm hoping we can find kernels of her, like, because if it's for the podcast, I'll actually finish it. I'm hoping we find kernels of her in it, but when I tell you, Val, painful. Painful. And again, girl sounded like a wolf fucker. Just,
I can't wait. I kind of like being a hater for fun. So, delicious food.
It's crazy because it's also an author. Like, it's just such a weird position to be in. But yeah,
usually authors don't change this vastly.
It's crazy. I was like, were you 16? What happened? I don't know what it is, but she is so good as a writer, and this is so not. And I wonder if the books get subsequently better. Like if this was the series she cut her teeth on. I don't know. We'll see.
It seems like she was just trying. My guess would be that she was trying to do like a paranormal teen romance thing, and it was just that was the vibe. But we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, that's it for my thoughts. Any closing remarks from you, Val?
It's overall just really beautiful. There's a few things that one thing I wanted to say, this was supposed to be, she planned this as 5 books, and I do think that the weakest part is the tree magic with the dad stuff, and I think if there was one more book in there to explain the tree magic with the dad stuff,
but also,
it would have...
I would say overall this book is the most rushed, because like the fallout for all of the collectors,
her rushing through it.
The fallout with all the collectors and Piper trying, like, it is such a like footnote in the climax, because there is a scene for it, and then like we don't get a moment to really sit with anything. Like, it ends very quickly. The denouement.
Most of the books let you breathe a little bit. The last one doesn't.
No, it is, and you can tell. I mean, we both kind of read this very quickly, but like, there's so much that happens in this book. I was like, when did this happen?
Even if we hadn't rushed it, I think we would still be like, wait, what happens first? Because it is very, very one thing after another. And like all the stuff with like Blue and her dad, it is very rushed. Like the tree magic is like huge and not really explored.
Because you also find out she's half this creature.
She's half tree person.
She might be able to do this, and there's no resolution to can she go into trees? Does she develop a relationship?
You can tell that like there was supposed to be another book in here, and she thought she had time to explore it, and she didn't.
Yep. And even how does Gwenllian fully integrate into 300 Fox Way? She's now like the new 3rd. And also, what kinds of magic? Gwenllian can do magic. Blue can't. But they're the same type of person magic-wise. Does Blue develop psychic power? Like, there's so many little things like that are not followed up on.
And I will say, in the the writing like seminar that I took with her, like she straight up like, I thought I could add it all in, but I don't think I did a good job with the tree magic stuff.
It really, like, the Gwenllian and Artemis end up feeling so unintegrated by the end.
Yeah, they're just a little bit on the outside. And you're like, if you're gonna add them, you should have explored them more. They're just not quite characters enough. But overall, for what it is, this book, these are such good books.
And you mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned earlier, it's so easy to read. Like, this isn't a tour. I had to read like 2 of them this week, and because like I was busy and stuff like that, I basically had to finish the 4th book today. Like, I started and finished it today, and it was a pleasure. You know, would I have liked to have read it a little more leisurely? Yes, but it also was just fun to read.
And like, just in terms of, there's just way too much like bad YA out there right now.
Yep.
And this definitely reads a little bit younger, like kind of like on the cusp of like a middle grade YA a little bit. But if just so smart and beautifully written, and the characters are delightful. I highly recommend reading it.
Absolutely.
I made my partner read it, and I was like, I know this sounds dumb. Please read this, and he had a great time. He doesn't like romance books and or in general, but it's just so good. It's so good.
And one of the things I would say is the romance is very tangential too. Like, we didn't even talk about a lot of the scenes because
we didn't talk about
it's not plot relevant for a lot of the things. I mean, the plot relevant part is that Blue
it's
will
about
kill
the
her
character interactions. The romance is like a is tertiary the right word?
Yeah.
It's like a secondary to their actual like friendship.
Yep. It's great. It was a good series. I'm glad I got to read it. I am also glad that I'm off for a week. I don't have anything.
Just a little break.
I do need a little bit of this was a lot to try to read because I had to read a different book last week, so I've been trying to squeeze it in, but it's just been
Maria, I gotta say, I read all of these this week.
That's insane.
all of them.
It couldn't have been me. I wouldn't have gotten through these last two, but I was off. I've been off since Wednesday, Thursday, today's Friday, and I just crammed those two books into these 3 days.
But that was fun.
Yes,
I think we did good.
I think we did a great job. Will, you shouldn't have kept us separated for so long. Power.
We're cool. We're charming. We're gonna read Shiver.
Yeah, we are. Put it on the schedule. All right. Well, this has been great. Thanks for being here.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Join our Patreon. It's a great time.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay, let me turn it off. I can't find my mouse.